we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 34 wow, of 2.5 Crows.
Wow.
We got Mommy Crow here. We got Skyrus. This is a good old classic version. Say hello, y'all.
Hello. The full house is here.
Yeah. Last week we had GM Raiden, but no Sky, unfortunately. But this time we had the OG crew.
Yes. With the squad.
I guess, yeah, just start it off. How you guys' week's been? Any highlights?
I PvP'd a lot. Yeah, but I think that's about it. I PvP'd a lot. Yeah. Ups and downs, but yes, I PvP'd a lot. There you go.
Okay.
I don't think I played much else this week. I think I just got a bit busy or something like that.
I feel like that.
But yeah. Yeah.
Sky, any highlights?
Other than I finished my exams, not really.
Oh, well.
Alright, yeah! You guys are on break now. And that's why, like,
Yeah.
last night my friend, because she goes to UNSW, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like she's just so free. She just like wants to play Elsa now, and I'm just kind of
Yeah,
like,
because exactly.
yo,
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm just like, yo, if she's playing Elsa, I need to get her back into the game. So I'm like, yeah, sure. I'll start. I'll ride to the end. I'll ride until like she's tired and stuff, right? And then like, but then it got to a point where she was just playing more than me, and I was like, okay, let's stop.
That's fine.
But yeah. Pretty good. I didn't even play much, and I think my uni is actually getting more getting closer to exam period, so I'm kind of
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, drowning a bit.
It'd be like that. It do be like that.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'd probably say the biggest highlight is last night I was doing a birth raid and I dropped a soul crown, which is pretty cool. I'm wearing it
Oh
right now.
yeah!
Yay.
Congratulations on the
Thank
soul
you.
crown, Mio.
It looks kind of dank. I'm like visually.
Is it?
I'm wearing it right
Yeah,
now.
actually
Yeah.
not.
It's like births, like the Annihilator's horns kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought that would look cool.
I don't know. I'm looking at my Raven right now. Like, this looks a little dank.
What does it? Usually you have the crown.
Yeah. So usually I'll have the crown, which I'll eventually switch it back, but just for a little bit, I want to wear it, just because it's. I think it looks a little. I don't know. It's cool to.
Flexing.
Flex it a
Flexing
little
light.
bit, you know. Exactly.
Understandable, but you just got the accessory. Might as well flex.
Right. So speaking of birth rate, I did want to talk about, like, one main thing I definitely wanted to talk about today is I finally got Curse of Chaos, right? I mean, not Curse of Chaos, Oath to Ruin. I always confuse those two. I finally got Oath to Ruin, so I wanted to talk about it a little bit with you guys about, like, my little bits of experimenting with it kind of thing, you know?
Right. Alright.
So a couple things to consider. So one of the first things to consider is when I do, like, I tested it with, like, full power Giga against, like, a test dummy with, like, no defense, right? If I use Curse of Chaos and I have it on when the Giga goes off, it's about 600 million more damage. On like a skill that hits, I think it was hitting 4 bill normally, and then it will hit 4.6 with Oath to Ruin activated.
Wow.
So it's a sizable chunk of damage, I would say. It is a sizable chunk of damage, but obviously proccing it is probably the hardest part, right? So within testing it, there's a couple of things I found out. It's not too bad to proc it with a combo, but in my experience, at least, the hardest thing is kind of like knowing when you switched, I guess. It'd be the best way to explain it. Because the hardest thing is getting your switches down. I feel like if I was a robot, if I was not a human, and I could utilize it at full capability, it would be like super extremely broken and everybody would want to do it. But I feel like we are bound by human limitations, so that, I can't switch that fast kind of thing, you know what I mean? Like, it's like task speedruns, sometimes it feels like. And then sometimes you just get into the moment of just like, you think you switched, but you definitely didn't, and you're doing no damage because you have no critical and you don't have the buff on. Yeah. So that happened to me a couple times. But I did so in that birth rate especially, I did think of a little idea to do with it, and it worked pretty well. So pretty much my idea is that whenever my DPS skills are kind of off cooldown, which is Rain and Giga, my two most important ones, what I'll do is I'll switch to Oath of Ruin, Flame Sword, and then switch back after like a second or two. And if I get the buff, I get the buff and can keep going. And if I don't get the buff, it's just like, okay, it's whatever, and I keep going kind of thing. Because you know the way Flame Sword works, where if once you fire off Flame Sword, it leaves a little fire trail that does multi-hit.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
All those multi-hits can all proc the buff, which is really nice. You want to know the weird thing though? Haze Explosion doesn't, even though that also has like a lingering gas effect.
Hmm.
Yeah, so Flame. Go ahead.
No, I was wondering which skill you replaced for flame.
Oh yeah. So I use Double Crow, so I replaced one of the crows.
Okay, fair enough.
So my setup. Let me see if I still have it on real quick. Actually, yeah. So my setup is Giga, Rain, Shadow Step, Flame Sword, Revolver, Ground Crow, 7 Burst, Bursting Blade, Harpoon Spear, and then Ifrit Flame at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say, you know how like Nova Imperator, he was complaining about the limitations of his body, being human and stuff. Just time to change ourselves into cyborg.
Oh yeah. No, I'm being serious though. Like, if you were actually a robot and you knew exactly what you were doing the whole time, like, you could maximize your damage. Like, I'm a little bit frustrated because I got the Soul Crown that run, obviously, so I was freaking out too much. I didn't look at my damage, but...
Oh, no.
Yeah, when I was doing it, especially with the Flame Sword strat, like, it felt like I was doing more damage, if that makes sense. Like
you felt, but you didn't have like but you didn't have the numbers.
Yeah, and I wish I got the numbers because especially in the first fight and the second fight, especially the first fight, like I just got into a really good flow of just like, okay, Giga and Rain are off cooldown, switch to Oath, Flame Sword, switch back, okay, the skills are back and I have the buff on, Rain gets the buff, Giga gets the buff, and then it just felt like okay, I was there, like I was doing it, like not 100% of the time, but like a good amount of uptime. I feel like I got a good amount of uptime. So yeah, that felt pretty good. Are either of you here good at math? So I was doing 4.0 bill, and then I was doing 4.6 with the buff. So
what are the times?
Yeah, no, I meant like, no, what's the number increase on that from 4 to 4.6?
15%.
15%? Okay, so based on my testing, I guess if you can get it off, you would be doing 15% more damage.
I think it also depends a bit on how much crit. Because Oath of Ruin's crit damage is additive, right? Or does it just increase the base crit?
It's crit damage increase.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, I don't know how... I would assume it's a buff, you know what I mean? Like, I never know when it's a buff. Yeah.
I forgot what the... Oh, I know.
I also do know crit damage has less return the higher it is.
Oh, it's true, yeah, because you're getting extra... Because you probably already have, like, at least 200%, like, without both anyway.
I probably do. Let me see. Yeah, I remember around that. Yeah, 199, yeah.
Okay, we'll just round it. Let's give it a slap on.
Wait, would you say using the Curse of Chaos strat, would you say it's viable? Yeah, oh, I blame you. You keep me.
Yeah, I know. I blame myself too.
So would you say it's a viable strat to use in Raid?
I mean, okay, you know what the weirdest thing is? I feel like it's the most viable strat on Raven. Well, at least so far from my testing. It's very viable on Raven and especially on Nova because of the way his character works. Because he has like weird cooldowns and his cooldowns are on a lot, it just gives you that time to just might as well switch to Oath of Ruin. And then the Flame Sword, like I said, its multi-hits makes it so that you can proc it pretty well. It's 11% chance, and Flame Sword, when you activate the flame, I feel like it does around 3 hits within like a second. So that's like more or less like 30% chance to just activate it when you switch to it, which is pretty good. And like I said, Nova doesn't have the best cooldown, so your skills will be on cooldown anyway, so you're not skill spamming as much as like I don't think an FB could do this because FB is constantly using skills and mana. So I don't think there's any opportunity for him to do it. Maybe Rage Hearts, but Rage Hearts also has pretty good cooldowns, so I don't know if he has an opportunity to whip out a flame sword. But I think Nova definitely does.
Speaking of that, would you say that because Fierce Blade and Rage Hearts have a notable advantage in that they cast skills significantly faster?
Mm-hmm.
So in that respect, you might be able to say that Fierce Blade and Rage Hearts may be able to get more returns off every buff window because they can just pump out skills way faster.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, there's also that Fierce Blade he's sitting like he has Giga Drive to help. I mean,
True.
excluding bans, he has Giga Drive to help Flame Sword's cooldown 1 second.
That's
And
true. You
I
could
think
whip out
because-
too, like immediately.
Yeah, there's also that like he's like especially now he's got so much cooldown reduction that you could really just smash your main skills over and over again. And of course, I don't actually know how he plays post buff because I haven't seen any videos, but I imagine
Same.
that would be the case. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing to consider. Is that Giga Drive does make Flame Sword 1 second, so you just get so many more chances. Because I did do that. On a training dummy is just for fun. I just smashed the Flame Sword and the cooldown reset button, and pretty much as soon as I lost the buff, I gained the buff. Like Flame Sword just literally hits that much. So maybe you might be right.
Yeah, but I guess like there's also that like slight delay in title switch.
Yeah, there.
Actually, I don't.
Go
Does that happen?
So
Does that
okay.
happen over there? Because
The funny thing with that title switch delay is I had more of an issue with the delay when I was doing it with combos compared to Flame Sword. So with combos, So with combos, I was doing the Nova combo of like X Smash, right? So you just do X Smash and then you get the hits. So it's good for proccing it. The problem is that you can only switch when Raven reels back, not when you hit the when you hit the switch. It ends the combo, but you still have to wait for him to reel back, if that makes sense. Yeah. Because he does the X Smash, and then he does a reel back. So you'll get the proc when he's doing the X Smash, but then you can only switch effectively when he gets the reel back, which gives like a half second of delay, compared to Flame Sword, which is just like, you click it, and then you can switch immediately after. Like, it's pretty much instant.
Have you tried Dash Jump X?
Yeah.
It does the same thing with that.
You know what's weird? Dash Jump X, I feel like had a lower chance of proccing. I don't know why. Like, I thought it would be really, really good at proccing the effect. It's not as good as you would think. I feel like the X Mash is actually better.
Interesting.
Yeah, like it was pretty good if there's multiple targets. Like you know when Birth Phase 2 bans things and he puts icicle spikes, like. Yeah, he did that, and I was just like, well, I guess I'll just put Oath of Ruin on and shoot bullets, and like I would get it within like a bullet or two, hitting like 2 or 3 ice spikes. But without that, it felt a little bit worse. I mean, obviously I've done a little bit of testing, like I could obviously do a lot more, but it did feel a little bit worse than the just ground X Smash.
Okay.
Real quick, someone asked in chat, what channel do we ask questions? The channel is called, it should just be called Podcast Questions. Yeah, it's just called Podcast Questions. It's in the text channel category. Right under the generals.
I got locked outside my house.
Are you serious?
Dude, oh my god, I went to the backyard, I closed the door, my roommate locked the door when I was outside. I don't know, he saw me outside as well and he just locked the door.
Okay.
Hello?
Just
wait. Okay, it's okay. I guess I'm doing an outdoor podcast today.
Okay,
Anyways.
podcast from the outside, let's go.
You should probably let him know.
Yeah, I texted him, don't know when he's gonna respond. So,
Okay.
well,
So it's the crows outside for the podcast.
yeah, look, it's a lovely day, blue skies, clear blue skies. No sign of rain today. I'm on weather forecast duties.
True.
Yeah.
It's just dark over here. It's very dark.
Yes.
What was that? Before that came out of nowhere. Air bullets feel weird. Flamethrower actually isn't that bad if there's multi-targets, but doesn't happen too often. But it's not the worst. But yeah, I feel like Flame Sword's just the best way to proc it. Just because it has so many multi-hits, it comes out quick, so you don't have that delay from Oath of Ruin. But it is still pretty difficult because, 8 seconds is not very long at the end of the day.
That's true, yeah. I think especially because Nova, well, at least like just Giga. Giga just takes a while.
So if you proc it, you definitely want to rain first and then no, actually you could do either or, because the effect activates the way rain works is that as long as the rain bullet fires, it'll get the buff.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But I know 100% for certain you can rain into Giga even without pet buff, if you switch back fast enough. Yeah. So like I said, my most effective strategy is just whenever there's downtime, use a flame sword and then switch immediately back. If you got it, you're good. If you didn't get it, that's okay. You just move on.
What other alternative actives could you use to proc the curse?
So I did try a bunch. Let me tell you. So Haze Explosion, bad, very very bad. It's only the initial hit. Yeah, it's just bad. Mental Crash. Okay, I'm not talking about Mental Crash. Breaking Fist, I haven't tried. I doubt it'd be good because it's only 2 hits with the mod. Napalm Grenade isn't terrible. I only tried it with the blast and not the fire, but I think it'd be difficult to hit with the fire anyway. But it's not very good because it's. You think it would be good because it's 3 hits, but I found Flame Sword to be a lot more consistent.
Okay,
and then Flame Sword Flurry is not good either. Like I tried. I tried.
Yeah, it takes forever.
You have to be like there on the field as well. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a bit annoying too.
Yeah, the lingering fire from Flame Sword is literally like
it's carrying this right now.
It's so many hits within a second that it's actually, I mean we're talking about this. I can show it off a little bit, but it's literally just like, and sometimes you can be creative, like you can be in TSS for example, use a Flame Sword and then switch to Oath and then switch back because of the lingering fire. Like I did that sometimes and it was successful. I will say one of the hardest things is keeping your eye open for the buff. Because, like, thankfully, it will always be the most recent buff, so it will always be all the way on the left. But still, sometimes, it can just be like, you just won't notice it. Okay, so 1 Flame Sword, there, I have it. And it was halfway through the Flame Sword and I already have it. Like, it's so many hits, just for no reason. I'll use another one. So you do that, and like, the first hit procced it, like, it's crazy. So you just, like, and then you're just going like that, bam, 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 it's crazy. The damage is good. So also you can just use a Flame Sword, switch to Oath. It doesn't proc, it's fine, just go back. But usually if you get the Flame Sword off, it will proc. Like, it proc that time too. Like, so far I'm 3 of 3 for procking it when I have it out. I wonder if Shadow Step Grenades are good. Not really.
No, I don't think so. There's also that you're wasting the skill itself, like, because I imagine that proccing Oath of Ruin has the downside of you being vulnerable.
Yeah, a little bit.
Having a panic button is handy.
Which is good too, because Flame Sword is super armor.
I guess in Burst. Oh, true.
Yeah.
But I guess in the context of Burst, the invincibility doesn't really matter because, like, you still get hit anyway.
Yeah. I mean, if you're built for Burst anyway, like you have good defenses, you can take a little opportunity to use that because all his attacks ignore iframes anyway. So I feel like you're as safe as you would be if you were using a normal skill. Also, I have not failed yet using Flame Sword to try and proc this. Like, it's just done it. Okay, I failed that time just because I brought it up. It's okay. So I used it about 5 or 6 times, and I failed once with Flame Sword. That's pretty good, at least I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's pretty solid. Obviously, I think it's going to take more experimenting, just because it's pretty, it's at the end of the day, like, you gotta pay a little, like, this is a new layer of just kind of, like, paying attention, because, like, you gotta pay attention to this, pay attention to, like, your cooldowns, pay attention to, like, especially on Nova with positioning, like, this is just adding another layer of just, like, paying attention to something. I mean, the benefits, I think, are pretty good, like I was saying, like, 15% more damage is nothing to scoff at, but it's just, like, are you willing to put it up with, like, being aware
of
this.
Micromanagement.
Yeah, another layer of micromanagement. Because I will say, if you do mess up and you stay on Oath without the buff, it kills your damage a
Feels
lot.
bad.
Yeah, it
Feels
kills
bad.
your damage a lot because losing all that critical, it hurts. It hurts. That's pretty much it. All I have to say for Oath. Besides, like, I'm gonna do more testing in the future.
I think I think definitely tentative because I guess there's
Mm-hmm.
two really clear downsides. Obviously, the first is the first is if you forget, then you're screwed.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess like the really clear second one is the amount of damage that you're losing out by setting a thing up.
Yeah.
I mean, like right now, like it doesn't seem that bad because you just press a skill like maybe once or twice and you get it.
Mm-hmm.
But in the long run, like you're doing this multiple times every minute. This buff only lasts.
Mm-hmm.
What was it?
It's 8
7
seconds.
seconds? 8 seconds?
Eight seconds.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in the end, the buff only lasts 8 seconds.
Yeah.
And every single time you have to set yourself up. So I guess from a DPS standpoint, like, is it worth the time to set it up?
I think it just takes more. I think it just needs more experimenting. I hope more people experiment with it, especially Ravens, because I think at the very least it can be experimented with.
Yeah, I think what worth consideration.
Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, title switching just makes this an option.
Yeah, so it's like, why not? I think for me, if I were, I don't think I'd be very good with experimenting this, let alone actually using it, because I think it's just because I'm not a very consistent person in general.
That's fair. Okay.
So yeah, so because of that, especially I remember when I was like documenting all my roster numbers, and like some of them, like even with very similar party compositions and everything, like some of the runs I was just like really out of it, and then I just made a billion mistakes, and the other runs like it felt really good. But because like my bad days are really bad,
yeah,
I just don't know whether I'll be able to execute.
Okay, that's
well
fine.
enough.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think the nicest thing about Oath is just like, if you just get into a mood of just like, I'm not feeling this, just don't title switch to it. Just rock out with your DPS. Don't even worry about it. Yeah, I mean, like, it's very forgiving in the sense of just like, it's not like it's not like a Code of Honor or Engine Cooling where you have to like wait 3 seconds to put it on. It's a quick title switch. If you fail, it's okay. Yeah. That's not too bad. It's not too bad. But yeah.
Should we move on to the question in the chat?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's the best Raven and why? Is this in a lore standpoint? Is this in a game standpoint?
I mean, I assume it's gameplay, and at least in my opinion, I feel like the answer is complicated, because what do you mean by like best, right? At least that's what I think, right? Like, cause like I think in some instances FB can be the best, but that's only in the situation that you super fund him with a lot of ERP, a lot of potions, things like that. And then it's just like, I think in a lot of instances, Rage Hearts can be the best because he can clear very well, he can boss very well.
Clearing might be slightly debatable after.
Yeah, after the nerf. I mean, it's still solid, but it's
it's
not god tier like it was before. It used to be god tier.
Yeah.
But now it's just kind of solid.
The most important aspects of the game. Okay, that's all. Okay, that's also you.
Yeah, like what?
That also can be kind of subjective, because what would we define as like the most important aspects in the game? Like, for example, let's say I might find farming to be the most important aspect in the game because this is what you're going to be doing. This is what you're going to be spending 95% of your time doing. Is farming ERP, farming drops, farming stuff. So therefore, I might value the clearing aspect more because I think farming is more important because you spend more time doing it. Even though things like raids take up. Even though arguably, like your performance in raids is what also matters a lot. But if I value farming, in the end, I just say, well, it matters, yes, but you're still going to be spending 95% of your time farming. So therefore, I could also say the other side, like raid is really important. Because that's kind of where like your performance matters, whether you get a clear, whether you get the run clear or not, and the rewards on raid are so large, like such as best titles in the game, best weapon in the game,
Mm-hmm.
and like that kind of thing, then it's like, yeah, there's also that, and there's, I guess, especially, I guess as someone who frequents that other side of the community a lot, because I imagine Meteor would be exposed. I would imagine Meteor or Mummy Crow would like see different sides of the community, and then since I'm more around official Discord,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess like most of the contacts that I talk to are from the high end. Sometimes you might see in the official Discord where someone asks, "What's the best class? What's the best X?" and then people instantly get pissed and like, "Oh my god, why are you asking such a question? Why are you asking such a question?" Blah blah, and they go,
Yeah,
on,
it is
"This
such a
plays loaded,
loaded
you find fun."
question.
Blah blah blah. Yeah,
Yeah, it seems so simple,
yeah,
but
like
it's actually very loaded.
yeah, and
What,
like
the
yeah, like
question-
I've seen people get legitimately like just absolutely like ticked off when someone asks, "What's the best class?" and I'm like,
Yeah.
on one side, like I don't think it's quite. I don't like at the same time I don't think the anger is too justified because in some games like best is very clear cut,
Yeah.
but in a game like El Sword it's not really because there's so many aspects that you have to think of that just saying a class is the best isn't necessarily is like
Accurate.
usually enough. Yeah, it's usually like so much of an oversimplification that in the end that it's just blatant misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so which is why I like, and also because the question gets asked a lot by newbies, and I guess like how some people interpret it is they like I guess for some people it gives off the aura that like, oh, I'm not willing to learn, I'm not willing to actually think, I just want an answer, I don't want to use my brain, done. And then I guess like people get really pissed at that. So anyway.
But I think at the same time, players need to understand that playing the best character isn't like you don't need to play the best character in this game. You should also focus on playing a character that you enjoy playing.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess there's also that well, I guess a counter argument to that is some people believe that having good performance is part of the fun. Like some people just really don't like the idea of like having to put so much effort into a class only to have like another class do infinitely better with like less setup.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, it's like playing Tempest Burster and seeing what the Raider can do. So
Yeah,
but
I
anyway,
definitely have friends who think the same thing, but I think I guess in a way, ultimately every player is different.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone enjoys what they like differently in the game. So yeah, it's up to the player, but just also consider like play style and what you like to play with as well.
Yeah, because
yeah.
for most of the content anyway, you can get through it. It's only really the tippy top of like what is it?
Birth.
Like birth.
In
Like,
game.
yeah.
Like you're not getting there without hundreds of hours of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So and maybe even a buttload of whaling.
Yeah.
So I guess should we move on? Should we actually move on to the question?
Well, yeah, he followed something up. He said, what Raven has the best balance of farming, bossing, clearing, and PvP? I mean, I think that the difficult thing with that when it comes to Raven is I feel like a lot of them are really close, and
yeah,
like what one Raven lacks, the other one kind of has. So I don't, at least at the moment, I don't think there's a definitive best. I think FB and Rage Hearts kind of fight over the top, while Nova's pretty close, like in the second place kind of spot, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
But I think the main thing that's letting it down is clearing. Like it's actually.
Yeah.
If
Clearing has equal value to bossing, then Nova's a lot lower.
Yeah, because objectively, like Nova's clearing is definitely more cool.
Yeah, it's bad.
But it's when you compare it to what other characters have, like Innocent, Animus, even classes that we don't consider to be like top tier clearers, like Fatal Fan.
Yeah.
No, Fatal Fan is pretty good. I'm just like almost all the classes I can think of are like have decent, at least better clearing than Nova, well, except for Black Ops.
Yeah. What were you saying? Carl?
I was gonna say if I had to pick, like based on NEF's questions like farming, bossing, clearing, and PvP, I'd pick Rage Hearts, honestly.
Yeah, I think Rage Hearts does. Like, if this was pre-nerf, it would be unabashedly rage hearts, like not even close. But after his nerf, I think yeah, it still might be rage hearts, but Effie's very close.
I think
Yeah.
at the same time it's also because I don't know much about Furious Blade. Well, I haven't
Yeah,
played him much, and
he
I can't really have an
he's
opinion
really
on
tough to
that.
play. Yeah, he's really
Mm.
tough to play
Um,
for both setup and execution.
Mm.
Um,
um,
but
personally, I wouldn't watch. I pick Raytron.
okay. Yeah, like the thing is just like when it comes to at least Nova, right? Like uh like even when farming, cuz like okay, you got to consider clearing, but at least in my personal experience, you know, this game is not a solo game. Just because Nova can't clear doesn't mean you can't do anything with farming. Like if you have a
Mm.
farming team, like you can literally just hyper excel, go to the end of the map, and then reduce elemental resist with a water, like so people can water longer, and like that's enough that you're good enough in that party. Like you know what I mean? Like a practical versus kind of like just looking at them
Theoretical.
objectively.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like asking like what like considering the ramifications of the answer basically. And I
Yeah.
think like some, especially in farming party, like a lot of the time, so let's assume that we're farming trash.
Uh huh.
A lot of the time, people will want to go into that with EXP setups on
Yeah.
alts, and this often means that they lack firepower because they're trying to cheese as much CP as they can to get
Right.
into the
Right.
dungeon with as much EXP as possible. So then, because of that, they end up lacking damage. And then sometimes, like if you're just dead, and even a lot of the time in trash compositions, so a lot of the time, the ideal amount of people you want in Trosh is like 3,
Yeah.
because
Auto
because
party.
four gives you a less powerful solo. 4 gives you a less powerful auto party buff,
Mhm.
and often what you have is you have like two people who can do the majority of the weightlifting for clearing, and then you
Mhm.
have that one person who picks off the small like the mob or two that the main clearers usually would have to go out of their way to get.
Mhm.
So and then there's also that maybe your clearers are all like full EXP farming set characters who do like no damage, and you're just there to one shot the boss.
Yeah.
And then even though you're doing objectively so little, like you're like it's like the missing piece in the puzzle. Like
Yeah.
you provide that, you round out the whole setup, and then suddenly your runs are 1 minute 30 or something. I don't know.
Mhm.
Even though you actually can't clear. So I guess yeah, the fact that he has bad clearing is
Yeah. It's almost like it's almost okay to be honest.
almost okay. Keyword almost. I
Yeah.
think sometimes it can be a bit subjective. Like for example, I I don't farm on Nova,
Yeah.
but if I had to choose between whether to farm on Nova or Animos, and let's assume that they both wear
Animus.
the same EXP,
Mhm.
I will pick Animos. I
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
land
Of
like
course you would pick Animos. Yeah. No, I was just saying that like Nova's bad clearing doesn't mean that you can't clear on Nova. That sounds weird, but hopefully that
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. It
Yes,
does.
but
And there's
then I
also
guess
that.
that there's people who want to clear like most efficiently. They would not choose Nova for that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Like
Yeah, it's why you don't choose
it's
most
just a
farming
really
alt.
yeah. Obviously, you can clear, but it's just a matter of a question of efficiency and how
well, you
fast
know,
you
well,
want to.
I wasn't saying whether he can. Maybe I said that wrong. I wasn't saying whether he can clear or not. I was just saying that like just because Nova can't clear doesn't mean he can be, doesn't mean you can't clear Nova in the sense of just like you can be in a party with other good clearers and you can still get it done because this is a multiplayer game.
Yeah, I guess yeah. Like just
Okay.
because you can't clear
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you can't
Like
get around
yeah,
doing
you
things.
can't get around it.
Um, NEF says, I guess I asked because I play Flame Lord, and to me, she's a clear bottom of the three, so I was just wondering if there's a disparity between the Ravens. But then
Really,
again,
you
here's the
think
thing,
FL is the bottom
hmm?
of the three? No, I'm just like thinking about that because well, no, say your thing first, and then I'll tangent off a little bit.
Oh no, because I was just gonna say, with every like group of character path and character, etc., there's I feel like there's definitely gonna be like the best and worst out of the three, just because people like ranking things, you know, and
Yeah.
picking the best. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think especially for
So yeah.
Raven, like there might be a ranking, but they're really close together at the end of the day.
Hmm.
Hmm.
That just mostly depends, at least for me. It's just like you said before, it's just like do you enjoy their gameplay, or it's just like do you enjoy the things they do best the most, kind of thing.
I guess it's also that sometimes ranking is really hard because you don't have contact with, or you don't have knowledge, or be able to see people push certain classes to their limit. Like I think a great example is like roses. Like no one really knows what. Like everyone just goes, "Oh, rose,
Yeah.
whatever." Okay, like because like no one really. Well, at least like there are not many people who really like push her to her limits and be able to show what she can do.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's other classes like that. Like
Yeah.
there's Cossentia,
Dominator's a little bit like
Twilight.
that.
Yeah, definitely.
Real
But then people, I guess, because of that, like people just look at the things on what they can do on paper,
mm-hmm.
and then maybe like supplement that with a video or two of a Korean plan and go, okay, here's my judgment. But in the end, you don't have someone who's fully decked out that you can talk to and go like, hey, like, what do you think of the class? What are the things that you think the class does well?
Mm-hmm.
What are the problems that the class encounters? Because ultimately, especially if you're going to look at Korean recordings, a lot of the time they upload videos of them making like very little to no mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So then, and also their runs are usually relatively smooth, so you don't actually know what the class can do when things go awry. And I think it's in those situations where you can really see either you can really see the adaptiveness of the player whenever things go awry, but you can also see how a class functions when they're not at their optimum. So, for example, you might see a class full buffing party. Wow, they look broken, but take away those buffers, and then maybe like you'll see them encounter great amounts of cooldown problems or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Just like how like Furious Blade, with supports, his mana consumption I guess is like
Yeah,
it's okay, but
like
without it, oh jeez.
Right, like Furious Blade with a non-optimal party versus Furious Blade with an optimal party is literally the most night and day of like almost anybody in the cast. He's
just so chuggy.
Yeah, he needs things that can support him, and if he doesn't have that, he just cannot function.
He just kind of flops.
What I was gonna say is in response to NEFs, because he said I play FL and to me she cleared the bottom of 3. It's interesting that you say that because in my experience, one of the people that carry me in birth rate is AFL, and even in 15.5, they double my damage. They use a plus 11 VOS, and yeah, like it's just interesting to hear that.
Is it Dark Hunter? Is it Dark Hunter?
Yeah, it's Dark Hunter. Yes, Dark Hunter.
Oh, Dark Hunter. Okay.
Yeah, and granted, Dark Hunter is amazing. Like they're a fantastic player, and they have great gear. Yeah, they have great gear. Very very good player. But you know, part of me is just wondering, like, just kind of talking about this, like, I think Crow mentioned it a little bit with FB. It's just like, you know, how much do we really understand the other characters, in our class?
Yeah.
Because like. On one side, we have NEF here saying, like, FL is clearly the bottom of the 3. But then on the other side, I see Dark Hunter doubling my damage in a birth rate. Like, I don't know. And it's just like, man, I don't know.
At the same time, there are, like, well, Empire Sword and Bloody Queen, there are Empire Swords and Bloody Queen running birth. I don't know if they do the same damage, but I think both of them has their own perks as well. Perks and benefits. For example, Empire Sword has the strength damage or something.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, and
Flame Lord and Empire Sword are both strength practice.
Yeah, and there is like Mjolnir who was doing DPS BQ in birth rate.
Yeah.
So I guess it's like NEF was saying, like, comparing Flame Lord to the other two classes, like, does she amount to much, you know? Because what I've heard in the community is Flame Lord. I think people say the Flame Lord is a very balanced character. Or something like that.
I've heard that.
So I don't know if Dark Hunter was just doing that damage because their gear was just that much better, or if they piloted Flame Lord that well, or etc. So yeah, it's hard for us to say because I just well, especially for me, it's hard for me to say because I just don't know anything about it.
Yeah, like
I wouldn't be.
Well, I was mostly getting to like just kind of a little bit the wording. It's just like clear bottom of the 3. It's just like kind of like what does that mean? It's like okay, she could be the bottom of the 3, but if she's still fantastic, like you know. It's like you know what I mean, like if she's bottom, if you're the worst out of like if you have the worst grade out of everybody who gets A's, like you still got an A. Yeah, like that's kind of what I'm saying.
I guess, but it's just and then it comes back to the question of all people want to play the best class of the character they like, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think I am an example of this where like I I liked Nova a lot, but I didn't really like his gameplay, and I felt his gameplay was a bit lacking compared to Raychat, and that's why I switched to Raychat, for example.
Mm-hmm.
You could say that that was me choosing the not really the best class, okay, but it's just like to me, he was the best class
Yeah.
over and over and over. Yeah, for example, that yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you know that even that's an attribute too. Is if a character is better, but you play worse on them, then they're worse. Like then overall it's worse. If that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
if I changed my Nova to Rage Hearts or Furious Blade and I did all the gear setup, I wouldn't be able to reach the damage that my Nova does just because I play Nova so well. I mean, not extremely well, but I play Nova very solidly well.
Well, like compared to Rage Hearts, yeah.
Yeah, compared to Rage Hearts and compared to FB, that if I went to them, I just wouldn't be doing as much. So even if he is better, I mean, if he is worse at certain things, me as a person wouldn't be able to play him to that level. That changing, at least again, at least for me, wouldn't actually be in my benefit.
Oh, actually, speaking of that, so you know Gitka,
Yeah.
Blade of Death. So
Yeah.
so when we got the 2 job chain event, he actually did switch to Rage Hearts and try Rage Hearts out on Gauntlet for one run, and I think he had a solo DPS party, so everyone else was all support buffers, and I think he said that he ended up doing more damage than his Furious Blade could.
Wow.
Even though he literally just switched to Rage Hearts.
I mean,
I think it's.
go ahead.
I think a lot of the skills are transferable from, or at least the fast casting time part. Because I think if you were to
Yeah.
switch from Nova to Furious Blade / Rage Hearts, like one of the first things you have to immediately get used to is how fast the cast times are. Whereas like for Nova, you kind of
Yeah.
you kind of like have time to sit there and think, okay, what am I going to use
Yeah,
next?
Which is
Yeah.
at least for me, I like that a lot actually.
yeah. I think there's that little bit of learning curve, definitely. Yeah. I have a question for you guys though. Would you guys rather every class in Elsword be good at every game mode in this game and the only differences are in the gameplay, or would you guys rather have the disparity that exists today, where some classes are good at some things, some classes are good at other things?
Oh man, is the first one okay? I think if the first one is possible, I would like the first one, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. Like I think that, yeah, there's nothing I can say beyond that. Is the first thing as possible, I would like that more.
What about you, Sam? What do you think?
Pretty much the same as.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know, because I think the thing that's making me so difficult to choose is I can't imagine what the first option would look like, simply because
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
not possible. As long as differences exist, imbalances will exist.
Right. Like for example,
But
right?
in the end,
Go ahead.
yeah. Dory, go on.
Oh no, I was just gonna say like, for example, right? If Nova, if Nova can keep his overheat, if the Novas can keep their individual like systems, if what else does something unique characters have? If Dominator can keep his summoning things, if all these guys can keep their very unique things and everything, and like at the same time everybody can do everything, if that is physically possible, I think that would be cool. But I don't think it would be physically possible.
I don't think it would.
Yeah.
100% think it would be.
I think that even if it were possible, I wouldn't want that because I feel like even if all the characters' gameplay are different, it's still gonna be a bit boring, you know. Like if every single class in the game could do like everything equally well, right? Because I think like imagine if you're trying a new character and you're like, oh yeah, they're good at everything, cool. And the only thing you have to judge your opinions on like different characters and classes are on like how they're played differently. I feel like that's a bit lacking and a bit boring. So even then, I was actually surprised everyone went with the first option because I'd actually go with the second option. I actually don't mind the disparity that exists today.
Well, the reason I picked the first option is it gives you the freedom to do whatever you want, essentially. Pick whatever you want, you know? If I apply it to kind of how it is now, whether or not we agree with it, there is, essentially a wall, especially with Birthright, of like the characters that are like more desirable and things like that. A CC, for example, will always be more desirable than like a Nova, for example. But if they were both equally the same in their supporting capabilities and their DPS capabilities, and both are just taken freely, I think that's better.
the same time, I think people would lose the motivation to create alt characters, and I feel like there's a big emphasis on creating alt characters in this game as well.
Mm-hmm. I
So,
mean,
so I just
I think that the both of I think that fact is both a negative and a positive.
yeah. 'Cause no, I think it's just like fun wise. I feel like you lose the aspect of like being eager to check out other characters. It's just like, for example, if you knew every character was just good at everything, then you kind of have that already like existing like knowledge, and then you just kind of like, then what's the point of trying out another character if you like this character already? That kind of thing. I just think it lose out on the fun, but like
Yeah, I mean,
practicality wise and just like
I don't think it's
inclusiveness.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say practicality and inclusiveness wise, then the first one would be better. But I just think it loses out on the fun.
I don't think it's necessarily fun. I think it's could be fun because I think definitely for some people they don't want to play these other characters. They want to play who they enjoy, you know? So what one person could consider fun of just like, oh, trying a new characters. Another person, you know, like me, is just like, I don't want to play these other characters. I want to play the character that I enjoy, and being like essentially, I don't do it, but I know I know there's definitely people who are just like, I don't want to play CC. I don't want to play what's another character that's good for supporting? What's the third path, Noah?
Yeah, as well.
Nyx?
Nyx. Yeah, like
I don't want to play Nyx.
yeah, I don't want to play Nyx, but it's just like I have to because they're good and they're taken. I mean, again, I think it's a negative and a downside of just like, yeah, it encourages you to play different characters. You can try different gameplay styles, try different characters. But I think on the opposite side of equally as valuable, it's just like I don't want to play these characters, but I have to. I almost have to. Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. I can understand that. Yeah, I guess for me, like, I think part of the fun of Elsa, one of the fun aspects of Elsa is being able to try new characters and discover new things about like the game in a way. Yeah, the game in a way. Yeah, so yeah. Oh, but yeah, fair enough. You know what? Reasonable end.
I mean, I will say one thing. I wish that the roles were closer to being balanced, and it's something that I've talked about a lot. Is that, you know, still to this day, I mean, we got one more healer compared to like before, but still to this day, it's pretty much Radiant Soul, it's Blue Hen, it's Nyx. Like, you know, ignore for the fact that Nyx is millions of years better than the other two, but at the end of the day, we got 3 healers out of how many characters do we have? 40 something? 40
50 something, 40 something, 50 something.
50 something, 40 something,
A lot.
50 something. Yeah, like we still have 3 healers out of like 40 or 50 characters. Like that's not a good fraction. And then for the tanking characters, we still only have CC and Scent. The super armor they gave to Optimus, the super armor they gave to Nova is not good enough. You know, we still only have very little of these crucial classes. So I think at the very least, they should spread that, you know, very, how do I say this? Like, important support role or important roles. Just spread that more at the very, very least. Like, you don't have to give to everybody. Like, maybe not everybody needs support capabilities, but I do think it needs to be shared at least to more of the cast.
Okay. I agree, honestly, because I feel like I believe in the past we did a thing where like we compared the percentages of support in Elsa to percentages of support in other games, and then just like Elsa just has such little support in comparison. But I wonder if part of the reason is because you know how like I wouldn't call Raid relatively new, but as in it's new enough that KG hasn't had the time to release more supports for Raids.
I think it's what you said is true, is that for some reason, like if we start from Rasa Raid and think about the characters released since then, I think it's balanced pretty well. Like if we only look at the Labbies and the Noahs, right? They're like the healer comparison there is pretty good. 2 out of 6, that's pretty good. At least in my opinion. But you know, we take all these old characters, look at them, it's just like, you know, that's when the fraction gets all weird. And I think the problem is, like, I don't know if they were afraid, or I don't know if they just don't know how to do it, but they don't want to change the older characters into kind of like this new design mentality, if that makes sense.
I think a big part of that has to do with the image that they had for these characters.
Yeah,
and those characters were also importantly created during a time when Raid did not exist.
I agree.
Yeah, so then before Raid, like the role of healers was completely redundant. So it's kind of like is this is like I guess does it align like does giving them a healing ability align with their
Yeah, I think
vision of the character?
yeah, and they're just stuck on that.
I think in most instances the answer and I think in most instances the answer is no.
And
It's
like
giving Lord Knight a healing skill, like
and
okay.
yeah, I know. And I think that ties into the tanking characters too, because I think, like you said, Chung was just envisioned as like this guardian tank character, which at the time didn't matter. It literally didn't matter that he had like, aside from like PvP things, like it didn't matter that he had like the highest HP, like guard, and like things like Wonderwall and tactical field reducing damage. That didn't matter back in the day. Now it matters. Like he unintentionally became a lot more important because he is the tank character, but he was envisioned with that before Raid even became a thing, and he just kind of conveniently happened to be in this really good spot.
I agree.
NEF says, I mean, what could they possibly do to change these characters while keeping what players found great about them in the first place? I don't think they can do that effectively with voice characters, so I think he had kind of like what Sky was saying along the lines.
Yeah. I mean, at least for practical examples, there's a couple off the top of my head of characters that I think they could do it for fine. Like a Namos, making a Namos a full-fledged healer. They can do that fine. Make Aurelena, like, make it just like the classic healing skill like Blot Bloom. Make it like a Sun Shower. Make it like, I don't know what it's called on Nyx, but you know the healing skill that he has. Like, make it like that in its own special way. And it's already there, just intensify it, I guess. It just intensifies something that's already there. And at least for Nova, I've envisioned quite a few things that he could do as a support. And the most basic thing is giving Floor Crow buffs. It only has super armor buffs. Give it a defensive buff. Give it an offensive buff. Make his cooldown apply to the party. I think they can integrate these things little by little into these characters that already exist. I think it definitely takes effort, and like what Sky said is like the vision for these characters. But at least for me, when it comes to gameplay versus kind of, I guess, maybe would you call this story, I suppose, or lore, maybe
Lore?
yeah, lore.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, when it comes to lore versus gameplay, I think gameplay should trump lore. I think gameplay should just be more important than lore. Like, in my opinion, they need to swallow their pride and just be like, for the sake of better gameplay, do this, or smoother gameplay.
Oh.
At least that's what I think.
I also agree, but only because of the direction, but only because of the current direction of the writing at the moment. Like, the writing in El Sword is definitely not as expansive as a lot of other games, and I think this might be partly due because of the amount of maybe the company didn't envision that they would want to put in this much effort into the writing, so they gave us. So I mean, obviously, the writing has improved over time. That's what happens with all games, pretty much.
Yeah.
But again, you can kind of tell that the writing, the lore for this game is not as expansive as some other games, and I think because of that, it's perfectly fine to put that as a low priority and prioritize gameplay a little more. As like, I mean, as much as I really love good lore, it's just it just seems clear. It just seems clear to me that they don't put as much effort into it compared to other games.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you completely make these characters carbon copies of other characters. Like, I'm not saying make a Namos just like a Nyx. I'm not saying make a Namos like a Radiant Soul. I'm just saying make a Namos a healer in her own style. Like, she already has Aurelena. Give Aurelena like better, healing, so it heals mana, so it heals more HP. And then give another one of her skills, or maybe another of her passives, something that's shared with the party, or things like that. I think there's very logical things and very easy things you can do to kind of like, what's the word? Like, give attributes of like a tanking character, give attributes of like a healing character without changing a lot. At least that's what I believe.
Well, what if they released a fourth job path for every character, and for characters that didn't have like a definitive support class, they just made the fourth path the support class?
I don't think I would like that, because I feel like,
Yeah.
because I think that just goes back to what we were talking about before, is I want to play my character that I enjoy. Like, it's just like, if they come out with just like, you know, here's a Raven class that's the tank Raven. It's just like I would, at least me, like I would just be like, man, that'd be nice if insert skill here was on Nova. And instead of
Oh,
making
okay.
something new,
Yeah.
they improved this
Yeah.
character that I put
Sure.
years in, too.
Um, would you guys actually like to see fourth job path and Elsa being introduced?
Um, I feel like I'm indifferent.
Mm-hmm.
I
Like,
feel like I'm indifferent as well.
yeah, like I think new stuff is cool. At the same time, nothing's ever gonna trump Nova in my opinion, just because
Yeah.
it is such a big part of my identity. His gameplay is just so in tune to what I've been doing for years that if they released a new Raven and he was better than Nova, I'd play him just like I would play my Furious Blade, and Rage Charts will be like, well, this is cool, and he's probably gonna be good for a long time because he's a new character, so that's gonna be weird comparing him to the other Ravens. But at the same like you know what I mean? It's just like it's interesting, but I wouldn't be hype about it.
I would be hyped about it just because new Raven content. I just really want some Raven content, honestly, in this game.
Yeah.
I think I think oh sorry, go on.
No. I was gonna say something different. What are you gonna say? Scott?
Okay, I was gonna say that I think people who aren't satisfied with the current lineup will definitely appreciate his jobs, 110%.
Yeah. Because I think.
It's like
Go ahead.
I think it's like how before Labby, did we have a young female character? I think so,
Aisha.
right? Okay,
Aisha.
Aisha.
Yeah,
Aisha and Lou.
She was like 15, right, when she was at base class.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah. But I think most importantly, like none of them fulfill that like stereotypical like immature like child.
Yeah, because
I think, like,
Lou
some
has the
characters are great.
stature, but not the personality.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I guess like characters that come to mind from other games are like Klee.
Yeah.
Like no
yeah.
other character is kind of has the personality of Klee. So then when Labby came out, people jumped ship really fast because it's like a
Yeah, people like that
Oh,
archetype.
Oh my god.
Yeah, people really like that archetype. For reasons I could not tell you, but people do like those types of characters.
Yep.
I ain't here to judge.
no.
What? But I will say actually kind of a huge problem I have with that kind of idea is for jobs is a problem I've always had with Elsword ever since freaking like Aura came out, is that to this day, I understand why they do it. I absolutely hate Elsword's new character syndrome, because whenever they make a new character, they have to make it desirable so that people play it, but they're always so much more better than the current cast. I just hate it. I hate it so much. I really wish they wouldn't do it. Again, I understand why they do it, because, you know, people gearing up new characters, that's good for them. And it's just like, again, it makes hype, it makes money, so it logically makes sense, but I just hate it so much. And I know for a fact it's gonna happen if they do fourth jobs, is that all these fourth jobs will just be miles better compared to the other three jobs. That's why I kind of like, I would be more against it.
I feel like new character syndrome is just an innate issue that happens in a lot of games, actually.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like, I guess because, like, you know how companies are just like, oh, we want to make profits off of this new character, so we're gonna make them as powerful as possible, so everyone's gonna wail the heck out of them, and then we're gonna nerf them back to balance after a couple of months or weeks. But I guess it's like, the issue is, what other games where it takes like a couple of weeks or months to nerf them? In Elsword, it feels like KG takes like a couple of years before they actually nerf them.
It takes a new character. It takes the next new character.
Yeah, it takes a new character, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that's a bit unreasonable, a bit stupid in regards to that. Because like for example, Bluehen got that kind of treatment where like he was really strong, and then I guess it's like, I think it was only recently when Noah's Celestia was released they nerfed. Oh no!
It was a good moment before that.
Like yeah, it's like it just takes like so long for them to nerf these new characters,
Yeah.
and it's just like it's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, I think
It's like-
Blue took a while for his offensive abilities to be nerfed too.
Yeah,
I think with Bluehen it was kind of a little bit over time.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas Celestia is like, I mean, he did receive nerfs, but he's still very good.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, so-
Celestia received like nerfs to things that were super dumb, like Scorp ignoring 100% defense, for example. Like that was
Oh,
dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, they knew it didn't work for freaking Iblis. Freaking 100% defense ignore. It's too busted. And they did it again. Like what?
Oh yeah, with the rage hearts and
Yeah.
what is it?
Yeah.
Catastrophe?
Iblis.
No. Dying Galleon. Yeah, Dying Galleon. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Um,
people were like, wow, this is amazing.
yeah,
A 1 minute.
people were like, 4-minute birth run, Chinese server. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
Like, Elsa has a serious issue with power creep, honestly.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
like,
I don't know. I really hope this new kind of because it also ties to the recent controversy that happened, and the results of that is that the biggest thing happening in, let me check my calendar here, in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, the long-awaited, at least for me, the long-awaited player influence balance patch is gonna happen, and to this day, I think it's gonna be crazy, and I think, the biggest thing, in my opinion, that KOG struggles with, and it was definitely revealed to us, is that, man, there's a lot of freaking characters in this game, and trying to balance them all is pretty difficult. Like,
yeah,
I don't think they have the data, and I think they need to rely on the players to give them that data.
actually, because I think at some point the players know the game more than the developers themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it can happen.
So yeah, I got promised for this patch coming up in 2 weeks. This I think it should be May 27th, and then so they would reveal the notes either this upcoming week or in 2 weeks.
Okay.
I mean, if they're high, at least it seems to me that they hyped it up as like, okay, players are gonna have a big influence. Oh jeez, my chair keeps breaking. The players are gonna have a big influence on this, and if that's true, I hope to see a lot. And if we do see a lot, yeah, I think it'd be cool, and I think it'd be a good direction.
How drastic do you guys think the changes will be? Like after that meeting, like what kind of do you think? Do you think KG would like just like freaking overhaul every character, like freaking another reboot, for example, reboot 3.0 or something, complete revamps, or do you reckon it'll just be like number changes, just like slight changes?
Man, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like I think it's just so new, I suppose, the idea of just like, wait, they're actually gonna listen to us kind of thing, that like I would want the first option of just like a lot of things get like these pretty cool insane changes, and then like compared to like, oh, these are just some number changes which were all influenced by the community. I think both are very feasible somewhat. I don't know. I definitely want the first one though.
Yeah, okay. I feel like just because this is the first time they're listening to the community's opinions, I feel like, oh my gosh, we really need to make it count. Because we better like not mess it up so that KG be like, okay, the community is stupid after all. We can't take their opinion seriously anymore. Like,
Yeah.
But hopefully, whatever comes out of it, I just hope that it's gonna be positive results and everyone's gonna be happy.
Yeah.
Well, not everyone, but at least the majority will be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I mean, one thing to just think about when it comes to like balancing and things like that. I watched a YouTube video once by a YouTube channel called Acore Gaming, and they were talking about the idea of buffs and nerfs, right? And one of the things they were talking about is that when you have characters that are very strong, and characters that are very weak, it's always better to buff the weaker characters up to the strong level than nerf these stronger characters down to the weaker person's level. Just because there's some bit. Go ahead.
No, I think wouldn't that raise the issue of like, for example, if you're constantly buffing people up to other like characters' levels, right? Wouldn't there be a numbers issues where your numbers will eventually get too big, or something?
Power creep, yeah.
Power creep, yeah.
Oh, Jobs,
Yeah.
thanks for the host. It could. I was mostly talking about from a, maybe you could call it psychology aspect, or like just what players think aspect. It's just better for the player base, because people have a more positive reaction to buffs than nerfs. You know what I mean? Like buffs will make you happy. Like a very simple explanation is that buffs make you happy, nerfs make you sad. You know what I mean? So if you're
Mm.
buffing things more than you're nerfing things, you have a more, you have a more positive mindset from the community because they're just like, oh, buffs are cool. I like buffs.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
True,
I
true.
don't think numbers getting bigger matters really, if that makes sense.
I'm not sure because it's like then you've got issues with balancing the PvE gameplay with PvP aspects. Like, because you never like obviously you can't have the same damage numbers in PvP and PvE. Yeah.
Yeah, what like
So
they had that before. What they did is, so fun fact by the way for people who don't know, your HP is actually quite buffed in PvP compared to PvE because of that issue.
yeah, and it's like this is like why I think it's just like yeah, damage like so, okay, so pretty much what I think I've said this multiple times before, but just like my brother in the past, he mentioned how like an issue with Elsword is like the numbers are so big. It's just like it's really hard to work with sometimes. For example, if you want to balance between PvP and PvE game aspects, it can be a bit like annoying to work with and it's pretty tedious as well.
I mean,
So I guess
I think in that aspect of like at least PvP versus PvE, it's just you would just as damage gets higher, you scale up the extra HP they give you in PvP to equate to that.
uh,
So as long as they keep that, I guess you would call it quote unquote ratio. I don't think I don't think it'd be that big of an issue. Like it's definitely something to consider. Like the devs would like have to think about that and have to do something about that. But I don't think the solution is that difficult.
what if it gets so inflated we start going into the trillions instead of billions now?
I mean, we could. Well, aside from elsewhere not being able to manage that many numbers from
Yeah.
initial hits,
So I
but
think wouldn't
it
that-
can still count it. They can still count it. Yeah.
Mm.
The elsewhere system can count those numbers. It just can't display them for whatever reason.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how video games and what is it, coding works.
I don't know how the coding aspect of video games
Yeah.
works, but I feel like if they can't display the numbers, I feel like that's an issue because then the players don't know the numbers, they don't know their own numbers. You know?
Yeah.
But I don't know anything about coding. I'm just going off of maybe I should just get my coding friends on like, hey, can you analyze the Elford code?
Because like I mean that is the thing at the end of the day is just like there are characters that can hit beyond the damage cap, but the damage is still recorded as normal, unlike the boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm cool with that topic. Is there anything else we need to go through today?
That's all I really had just for ready to go stuff kind of stuff.
Okay, sure thing. I feel like I did.
Sorry, on.
Oh no! I feel like I do have some questions added in the questions channel.
Okay.
Oh, right. There was this one question that Meteor and I asked, but we were just like, we have to wait when Sky's here to ask this because we were just curious about it. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Wait, before I ask the question though, Sky, do you have anything? Did you say did you want to say something before we continue?
Oh no, I was going to make a comment about our current situation in which we sound like we have potentially run out of content.
Oh.
So we have not.
well,
No.
we ran out of stuff to talk for, and then we just had a little lapse.
Okay, dude, come on, guys. I got so many questions in our questions channel. You guys aren't paying attention. No, I'm joking. It's fine. But yeah, there's one question I wrote here. It's just like, if us three were to meet IRL and had to introduce one another to our IRL friends, would you introduce us as our online aliases or real names?
It depends on whether you tell me your real name in the first place.
I mean, I don't mind telling you my real name in real life, not here on the stream, but yeah.
Yeah, like for example, okay, you're hanging out with Meteor in a public area and you're ordering a Starbucks drink. Do you like and then
I mean,
like for example, no.
I think
Okay.
okay.
That's a bad context.
Real quick to answer the question, I think it would just depend on a couple things. The first thing it depend on is just like, what would you like if I was just talking to you guys, I would use your in-game names because they're very simple and I'm just used to that. If I was talking about you guys to other people, I would ask you guys like, would you guys want me to use your normal name or not? That's about. I mean, that's it.
Okay, but in the context of, for example, you're ordering a Starbucks drink, right? And you're ordering it for, like, for example, Media's ordering a drink for Skyros as well because she's minding the spot, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then they ask for, oh, can you give the names for each drink and stuff? And you say your name. But then would you say Sky as Sky or would you say her real name?
Again, I think that would come back to, do you want me to use your real name or not?
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
You
I
really
also-
feel like awkward saying like our online aliases to like strangers in
It depends on the name.
public. Like I don't know, like
Because Sky is a name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sky is a name, but what Crow?
I mean, yeah, with you, it's a bit more difficult just because your name isn't a name people would have.
Yeah.
So
And, like,
yeah,
also
I think that's an important factor is that if a username is a name anyway, then it's just easy. But if it's not, then it's just like then you have to consider it a little bit more.
Call her mommy. Call her mommy.
It's,
I know-
okay, so
Yeah.
2 points. The first is there a context in which you're asking this question?
Okay. So Aussie Guild meetup. This happened like a couple of years ago. So this is actually I was
sorry,
gonna
okay.
respond
Oh,
to
no.
I was going to respond to Innie F's comment with this story where we met up in person because back then I was called Daddy Crow in the guild, yeah, and everyone knew me as Daddy Crow, and then we had a guild meetup. This was back 2018, 2017, 2017. We can guild meetup, and then we meet up, and then they were just like, do I call you Daddy or
Mhm.
So then it had a bit of dilemma where like we're just like, alright, what do we call each other in public and stuff, etc., etc. So it's like, for example, if your group of friends went around calling a girl daddy, okay, it's kind of weird, champ. Like everyone else on the street would be like, what the heck is going on here, you know, kind of thing. So it's just like, I guess, just like in a public area, like obviously you have to consider, oh, should we call them online aliases or do we call them, you know, their real names? You know?
Yeah. I mean, again, I think, yeah, if you're talking to the person, I think, at least for me, 100% of the time, I'd use your in-game name. Just for y'all. Like, again, it just depends on the person. But I mean, at the same time, anybody that I can think of that I would meet up, I would use their online alias to just talk to them.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah. What would you guys prefer though?
Oh. I'll prefer my online alias actually. I hate
Okay.
I hate my real life name.
Okay,
That's
fair
okay.
enough.
For me, I mean, I can go either or. I don't know. I think for me, it just matters what they want more. It literally doesn't matter to me. I don't care.
Okay. Well, me, I don't know, because I feel like people don't say my real name that often either. I hear Crow more often than my real name.
I think it's also that whenever people are talking to you, like it's very like you can perfectly hold a conversation with another person without ever saying their name. Yeah, like you
Yeah,
can
it's
just
like
meet
if you
someone
want
and
to
say, "Hey, how are you?
get someone's
Thank you."
attention. Yeah.
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 It's like, hey Crow, that kind of thing.
Because there's been I know there's been like a lot of times when like I for some reason or another have had to encounter like strangers and then talk to them about something, and then maybe we'll have like a nice conversation about games or something, and then afterwards I'll just go, wait, I forgot to ask for your name at the very end.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know whether you
Yeah,
guys experience that, but
I guess it's just
Well-
really on a friendship basis when like you have to use each other, you hang out often, you have to use each other's names to get each other's like, attention and stuff.
I think
Mhm.
I think in the case of Crow and I, when we were temporary roommates, we used our online names with each other because it was easier to say.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
That was
Yeah.
good.
I was
Yeah,
like
so-
thinking like what is Sky and I call each other?
Yeah, like I remember one of the first questions when we asked each other when we first met was like, "So do you want to be called Crow or your real life name?" And then eventually we
Yeah.
found out that there was that practically it was a better idea to use online names, so we just stuck with that.
Yeah, it's just more natural, you know. We, oh yeah, we met each other online. We went with online names and just stuck with it. Yeah.
Mhm.
That is a tough question. There are other questions I'll have with you now. Okay. This I don't know. This other question is just like so it's back to Elsa related, right? But it's more like I don't know. I don't know if you okay. So one I sent on March 29th, 2021.
Okay.
It's like would each of the L guys like like girls with long hair or short hair?
Say what?
I don't think this is. I don't think this is. I don't think this is something that we can
Wait, no, I just didn't hear the
really
question.
answer.
Would each of the Elsa guys like girls with long hair or short hair?
Yeah, I don't know if we could say just because there hasn't really been a moment in Elsword where we kind of see a straight up, I guess, people being like that character is attractive. Like the closest I could say
Yeah.
is that maybe KE would like long hair because AES has long hair and they have an interest in each other. And then same with Raven and Rena, like long hair because he has an interest in Rena. That's the closest thing that I could say. But
In a way, you're answering the question.
even that is an assumption.
Yeah, I guess just for fun, if you want.
Then
to
Ravens
answer
were gonna
it,
say
I
have
guess
long
it's
hair.
like-
Like yeah. Like that's the closest thing I can say. Even then, that's a stretch.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like in a way that's still kind of answering the question anyway.
Yeah.
You're just like making assumptions, just like just having fun with like headcanon and stuff. So it's more so exploring the headcanon idea and stuff.
Oh yeah, headcanon.
Mm-hmm.
Headcanon stuff's weird. I don't know. At least to me, headcanon stuff is weird because whenever someone tells me something about a character, I never know whether they're talking about headcanon or normal canon. So whenever they say something, I'm just like, oh, really? That's interesting. And then, like, I don't know if it's headcanon unless I, like, look it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's the issue with like. Yeah. No. I feel like I would actually somewhat correlate this issue to like the bad like the lack of like a developed lore in Elsword, where people just like there are some gaps and people just fill in the gaps with their own ideas and then they become headcanon as a
that's
result.
fair.
So, because I feel like I see this issue a lot with Elsword lore specifically, where like so many things just get muddled up between whether it is actually canon or like headcanon, and it's just like it can get very confusing at times.
Yeah.
Mm. But I mean, if it's headcanon, like you're just doing it for funsies and stuff, then I'm like, oh, it's fine.
Oh yeah. If you're just saying it for fun, not fact, like that's cool. Like, I don't care.
Yeah. I was gonna ask something, but I forgot. Right. Yeah. Also, the other thing I wanted to talk about was like.
Oh,
The
real
thing
quick,
is we
someone did have
haven't-
a question in chat. Someone highlighted a
okay,
message
yeah.
in chat.
Yeah.
They said, Vivo Monday said, Meteor, in 2 hours will be my birthday. And thus my question is, will there be an Elsword stream so I can share my birthday? Yeah, I mean, I can stream in 2 hours.
Happy birthday, Eva Moda.
Yes, happy birthday.
Is this where we sing happy birthday on podcast?
We would be very out of sync.
I
I don't mind.
I think we'd have to explain it after as well. I think it wouldn't be on the podcast either, but
Yeah, it would be.
because you're not network.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fine. Yeah. Or maybe during media stream.
Sure.
No, I'm joking. But actually, real quick, I wanted to ask because like I don't think we actually had a proper like podcast where us three got together, right? Since the anniversary. Did we? I think we did.
What do you mean?
Oh no! Because I was just gonna ask, like, how did everyone's anniversary grind go? Like, what did you guys do for anniversary and stuff? Also, anniversary.
Oh, did we not talk
Yeah,
about
we
that
did,
when it happened?
Did we?
I think
we
we
did,
did.
actually.
I mean,
No?
okay. I mean, I'll say it anyway. Might as well. Yeah, I did a 12-hour stream for anniversary. Got about 7 levels. It was fun.
How many levels did you get, Sky?
Oh, I couldn't grind because something came up. I couldn't grind for the majority of the day.
Oh.
So I got 2 levels, but I grinded for like
Oh.
3 hours, about 3 hours. Yeah.
Oh Jesus! 3 hours for only 2 levels? Jeez. Wait.
I mean,
Wait.
usually I take about 2 hours per. Like usually with double EXP, I take 2 hours a level. So
Oh my. Okay.
at least I'm not like Kay who takes like 10 hours a level.
Oh no!
Are you serious?
Well,
That's crazy. I mean, it makes sense. It makes so much sense.
Yeah, because she's at like
oh,
590. I don't even know.
this just makes me. Oh well, I'm never gonna get there anytime soon, but I still dread the idea of that happening to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is why having
Oh,
full. Yeah, this is why having like full EX. Like, imagine if I wasn't running like a stacked EXP setup.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap, my sanity would die. So
yeah, K is Inukai. Yeah.
yeah, case
Yeah.
in yep.
I can't imagine how you guys have the motivation to keep grinding for EXP when it's just like it feels like so unrewarding. Like if you were me, I'd just be like, yeah, fuck this shit. I'm not grinding ever again, ever anymore. Or until like they make grinding easy or something like that.
I think for me,
Um,
it's a couple. I think for me, my motivation is a couple of things. Or
Okay.
what keeps me grinding is a couple of things. The first is the reward.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, I guess in my sense, like I'm not too fussed about it anymore because I've hit 400, so I already have all my important. I've already had the most important ERP.
Yeah.
The second part is the run's so fast, and for some reason my brain finds that to be incredibly rewarding. So I just keep going. So my runs are really fast. So say if I average at 140 or less, like I will just keep going. Like it just feels so satisfying. I'm on a roll. I don't want to stop this. And then suddenly,
Wow.
kaboom! 6 hours have passed, and
Yeah.
yeah, and then yeah. And I guess it's also, and I guess like especially if you're in voice call with friends, it gets really fun.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. Voicing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
How
I
hard
remember
is it?
when, I remember when Kay went for a 24-hour grind. Anyway, so I sit down and I grind, do like about 5 hours maybe. Then I go, okay, I'm gonna go to bed now, bye, and then I go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Get up. She's still going, still watching whatever anime still watching whatever anime she's getting, and then I notice, and going to the run. She's still in voice call. She's done something dead. She's not really listening to what we're saying. She's not really listening to what we're saying anymore because she's just that out of it. Her F8s are now like it's 0.5 seconds instead of 0.2 seconds.
Oh no.
Dude, this is like more extreme than me PvPing Elsa for 10 hours straight.
Oh yeah, that's
How she
yeah.
does it.
That's
I
a
don't know
whole
how she
level.
does it. Like but I think like for her biggest, she has like some of the most powerful autopilot brain I have ever seen. Like I don't know how she does it.
Yeah.
I guess she's probably invested like 8,000, like probably, I'm guessing 8,000 hours pure Elsa gameplay.
Like,
I feel like
she's built
at that
different.
point-
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
good
can
for
she
her,
definitely
but
built.
She's built different.
Yo, we need like Kay on a podcast one day because I feel like we've just like we just always put Kay on a pedestal. She's like this amazing creature. We need her on a podcast.
I mean, what's really interesting about being geared and stuff is that once you hit full R21, you become like, especially if you did so a few months ago, like as soon as you hit full R21, you are now like one of the most geared people of your class in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh.
yeah, which is actually like, I think now it's definitely a lot more common because of the nerfs, but like back in the day,
Mhm. Yeah.
like even like a year after Rigor got released, because I think Kay finished at full R21 around a year after Rigor got released, and she did dailies on Core Hackers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And and then she then after you hit that year point, like it doesn't matter what server you're in anymore. Like you are one of the most geared people of your class in the world.
Yeah.
So
Damn.
so I don't know why, I just remember that moment when she hit full R21 and she's just like kind of crying at how suffering is finally over.
Oh, because she can finally use the gear. That's true.
Yeah, she full pitied. Oh, what was she running before? I can't even remember. Was she running this whole time?
I assume I just assume Elrin. I mean, her Elrin node was still decked out. You know.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
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 At the same time, it's like the suffering is over. She she full pitied one of her R21. I think yes, for two of her pieces she skipped at 5%.
Mhm.
At one piece she skipped at 10, and then she pitied the last one.
Oh. Okay.
And then
okay.
yeah, I mean if we did 1K on this, I could poke her. She's in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
one team after all, so
I
that's how I
think
got Genevieve.
yeah. She spent 1 year just like slow grinding, like just suffering, like just painful.
Dailies.
Even then, like yeah, doing dailies there. So how long has it been since she's gotten her rank 21 full P?
However long it's been since a year after Rigmar's release. It's been a couple of months at least. Because Rigmar was released,
Okay.
was it
Let me.
was
I
it
mean,
summer in
I might as well
2019?
go look. I can go look.
Yeah. Yeah,
Summer
yeah, yeah.
2019, I think, yeah. I know Melody completed his in like a couple of months, but let's be
What?
real.
He wailed a lot.
Yeah, he bought Glacium.
No, I'm T.
Oh, okay.
He what?
Never
Yeah.
mind then.
He what?
Yeah.
Some people.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Melody. Oh, Jesus Christ. God damn.
Yeah.
Before someone's watching,
Just
this is
say,
evidence.
yeah, just say that he did not.
He
But people are
he
funny.
grinded very. He invested a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into his grind, and he just I don't know. He used some time skipping hack. There.
Yeah.
You just say that.
I mean, to be honest, to
Go
be fair though, at that time during that time he was also a very hard grinder. But I think as soon as he finished his R21, he was like, oh, game dead,
True.
boring.
Like what do you do? Like you already got the best in the you got the best in the game. Like what do you do after that?
No,
Yeah,
sorry.
like he
Go ahead.
even got an R like he even has like plus 13. Like you just basically like once you get plus 13,
He has all of them.
in the game at this point. Like
He owns all the plus 13s, as in both of them.
Oh really? Wait, it's confirmed?
wait, what?
Doesn't he
Wait,
own
what
the
do you
other
mean?
plus
Like,
13 as well?
I thought that was a rumor.
I don't know.
Well, you mean the
Maybe
fact
I'm
that
wrong.
Mio? Well, you mean the fact that Mio has a plus 13 is a rumor?
No, that
No,
he has
no,
both
no.
of them.
I don't actually know.
You don't know?
I'd have to
Okay.
ask him.
I just
Yeah.
heard that within the community that he has both, because it was funny, you guys are just like, after Melody just got R21, he's just kind of done. That's what happened to Big Spender too. Is
Yeah.
Big Spender got R21 and in like less than 2 months, I think, because he just
Yeah,
bought.
like he started the game and then 2 months he had R21 or something like that.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, his name was Big Spender, so.
Yo, I wanna, dude, that's my life goal. I wanna be financially free like Big Spender and Melody, and I just go like, alright, money, go. Let's go.
It is funny. It is definitely funny.
It's amazing.
Real quick,
Great.
I did look up. So Sea of Ruin got added 8/14/2019, which mean Inukai would have had it 8/2020. So there you go. How many
Yeah,
months from
so
that?
about a year, so pretty much a year then.
Yeah.
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 Maybe like 10ish months, 9 months, something like that.
Yeah. Would you guys say it's worth it to do that? Like, cause
Worth
yeah,
it to
would you guys
play
say
with 4 characters and fun one character?
Dailies on 4
and like spend a whole year getting that gear, that method gear. But then now you're like just for the next 10 months, you're like enjoying the shit out of it. Like
I think
you're rolling.
I think it's worth it if your Aria node is so decked out that you don't need Regamore, that you didn't need Regamore to like do good in Rasa.
actually do things, yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah, okay,
I think-
okay.
I think whether you think it's worth the time and effort or not is also highly, highly subjective. Like for me personally, I think it would. Personally, for me, I think it would have been 100% worth it. I think considering what happened earlier in 2020, that was when like I hit a really, really big motivational slump. I basically just didn't grind for months. Like if you remember all of those like 2 times the XP events we got like every 2 weeks during that time, I grinded almost none of them.
I'm the same. I'm the same style, honestly.
Yeah, and then for me, like, and for me, like, I mean, I know at the time there was nothing I could have done to help myself there, but at the same time, it's kind of like I really wished that I had grinded and gone to the effort to do dailies. So I guess for me, I would say it's worth it, but I think for someone who doesn't see as much value in having so much in rushing that power, because you'll eventually get it slowly anyway. It's just a matter of when you get it, and at least for me, I saw that, and at least for me, like I saw value in rushing it,
yeah.
where someone else might not.
Yeah, so for me, it was worth it to just do it on one character because I was doing nothing with Aria node, and once I got Rigamore, then I started doing things in Birth Raid. Birth Raid, Rasa Raid.
Awesome.
Rasa,
And
my
then
bad,
remember
my
the fact that you have to gear up like 3 other alt characters to be able to enter these Rigor dungeons as well
Yeah.
back then.
Kay's a big whale. It was no
Yeah.
problem for her. But
Gosh, yeah.
I mean, a lot of
I
people.
guess
I mean,
so.
even for Rasa raid, a lot of people did have like a CC at or ass geared out at that level
Yeah.
anyway. So I think even
See,
back then,
okay.
if you could get into Rasa raid, you could get into Sea of Ruin with a little bit more push.
Oh,
speaking
okay.
of on the topic of Rigmore dailies and stuff, if you remember, I can't remember whether Jennifer brought this up when he was here, but so he's a big Grotto fanatic. Like Grotto opens, he will run in with his like 8 ult, 14 ult or something.
That's fine.
And
Yeah,
his Grotto, this Grotto,
I
every
mean,
single one of them.
it does give good EXP to be fair.
Yeah, and on every single opening it happens. And then from that, he managed to rack up so much amethyst. Because it counts towards daily as well.
Yeah.
So he managed to rack up so much amethyst from that when the reforged nerfs hit, he had enough amethyst on his ults to pity 3 R21 pieces.
Wow.
Yeah, and then whether he's doing it right now or not, he's still deciding whether he wants to go ahead with it because he doesn't know whether he wants to sell it as a service in exchange for a plus 12, or if he wants to like use it for himself. But even if he did want to use it for himself, like his biggest problem is finding the ED and the magical.
Oh, true.
You're saying he can 21, but he has not yet
Yeah.
21. Okay, I understand this now.
Yeah, because he didn't because he doesn't know whether he wants to sell it or use it for himself.
Okay.
So yeah, like a year and a half of grottos
Like,
on
okay.
like a billion alts.
I will say this: if I was him in this situation, I would sell it because as time goes on, Rigor loses value, but a plus 12 will not. If that makes sense. Because
That too, and I think it's also that plus 12 is so like expensive,
mm-hmm.
regardless of how you want to obtain it.
Mm-hmm.
Like whether it be manually enhancing yourself or using some less than legal methods. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I think for him the problem is finding. I mean, obviously both options have their problems because you have to find someone who's willing to
trade.
buy 3 R21 pieces for plus 12.
Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah, I think if he can, I'd say do it for the plus 12. But at the end of the day, I mean, I think that's the good thing about it is that, like, you know, his option of just kind of giving it to himself is just kind of always there. But at the same time, like I said, Rigor loses value as time goes on because it eventually will be replaced.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's insane.
moral of the story, do go.
Oh, I'm sorry, stop slacking off. Get back to grinding. What are we doing here? Quick.
And,
Yeah.
I mean, it also still confuses me that you can't personal trade with somebody more than, what was it, 700 mil or something?
Yeah.
That's,
That's
so dumb.
The ED cap even increased to 5 bill. Why can't?
Yeah, it's so dumb. If you can buy from the board at a higher price, how come you can't trade with people for a higher price?
Yeah. How does that work? That kind of thing.
Because not like they
Top
don't
10
track
anime-
trades. They're always tracking trades, so they can catch people who like do something sus.
RMT, yeah.
Yeah.
Top 10 questions that will never be answered.
Yeah.
Real quick, I have a question for you guys.
Mhm.
What motivates you guys to grind in else? I think I might have asked this before.
Just for Rigor set, like I mean, I just like getting stronger. Like seeing my numbers go higher, seeing myself do better. That's what, like, back when I had like Void Weapon with El Reno and I was trying to do Rasa raid, I did it so that I can get a Rasa weapon and be able to carry other people in raids, and that's what I'm doing now. And
So
pretty much the same thing with Birth.
Okay. So that's pretty much your goal, to be able to carry.
Yeah. To be
like
to
the
be able
content.
to main DPS in before it was Raso, now it's Birth.
Okay, yeah. What about Sky?
I think my motivations are similar, but there's also that underlying. I think, like Meteor said, like there's a sort of a community aspect to it because you want to be able to, like, you know, main DPS for other people in your parties.
Mm-hmm.
But I think ever since I got a plus 12, and when like at the time I would have been considered one of the most geared players in the server, and I think once I hit that point of power, it kind of as new content comes out, it kind of motivates me to keep up because now I've set myself a bar that I don't particularly want to let down.
Yeah.
So I think part of it is also kind of like I want to be able to keep up because I'm personally motivated to I guess uphold myself to the same standards as I did before.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to be the
So I
best
guess
of the best of the best.
Yes, I guess there's also a fear of falling behind as well. I mean, currently I have. There's no doubt about that. But
Yeah.
I think that I think especially because I have been part of the moderator team for so long, I kind of feel like even though being a moderator has even though like your in-game like performance and abilities have like nothing to do with your status as a moderator, I kind of feel like motivated to be stronger in the game because I kind of feel like I should have that power. Even though it's absolutely not necessary, like I feel like I should.
Yeah, no, I agree with that
Self-satisfaction.
actually. I agree with that as like somebody who makes content. Is that people watch my YouTube videos, people watch my streams, so I think that there's an assumption that this guy knows what he's doing because he makes videos and streams, and I kind of want to keep that up. Of like, this guy at least somewhat knows what he's doing and is pretty good at the game at least. Because I have seen the reverse of like people who are not very good at this game and try to give advice, and it's just like, ooh, don't do this.
Yeah.
Please.
Having the right credential actually matters a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think even for me, like even though my job isn't really to give advice or like create content or like like kind of share my knowledge, share game knowledge. Even I think there's also a kind of a community expectation that a moderator should be able to give at least like not give misinformation. But I think like for me, I just kind of set my own bar a little higher and just went, as a mod, I should be able to achieve X, Y, Z things in game. So
Okay, understandable. Fair. Look, it's kind of like a self-satisfaction, self-motivation, goal setting kind of way. So I guess that makes sense. I think it's not a bad thing to motivate yourself by doing.
It's also just fun to do damage, at least for me. I just like doing more
yeah,
damage.
definitely. I agree. And that's why
numbers.
it's a race car. That's such a race car.
I mean, you just don't know how to pilot Nova. That's different.
What?
What? Anyway,
Huh?
I'm joking.
Excuse you. I'm like no phone. I was gonna pick that to heart. I was, because actually for me, I think like what Sky feel like she felt she was behind. I think like you don't need to worry too much, guys. I feel like no matter how behind you are, like once you sit down and actually put your like mind to it, I think you can actually catch up eventually, like pretty quickly too. Because I think even for me, for example, I didn't start properly playing the game until like 2020. So my growth spurt didn't happen until like 2020. So it was only 2020 where I actually finally started to,
Yeah,
want to get
I'd agree with
better.
that too. I think until Rigmore came out, I was just meandering, and then once Rigmore was out, I was really good.
Same, yeah. And I think part of the reason might actually also be because it might be dependent on who you hang out with in the community. It's really just like
100%,
your friend group matters so much. Like
That's true.
if you hang out with people who are like min-maxing, who wants to do the best, like you kind of get that influence from their competitiveness, and because of that, you kind of strive to do like your best damage as a result, as well as the result.
Yeah.
So I think like So if you like, I think another good idea if you want to, if it's like people in chat or who are listeners who like want to find motivation to get better at the game, join a community where like they care about like getting stronger.
One of my first
Mingle
advice to
with them.
people is finding an active guild. That's so important.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. 'Cause this is a multiplayer game, so you gotta use the multiplayer aspect.
And then, I mean, it also depends on how, was it? I guess you would say maybe the difficulty or something like that, because like, of like obtaining strong things. Because I think out of all the gear sets, at least of all the kind of like strong ones, Rigamore's been the easiest to get because what is it? It's like starting from heroic. Heroic was so annoying to get a super optimal set.
Yeah, stupid RNG.
Yeah, Elrianode was less, but it was still kind of annoying.
Yeah.
And Rigamore has been the most consistent but slow, but I think that's the best out of all three of them.
Yeah, I'd rather not rely on my RNG to get better, you know.
Yeah, I'd
Kinda
rather have
stupid.
slow
Like, what if-
consistency.
Yeah, what if like someone who just got stupid lucky all of a sudden? They
Mhm.
got like in heroic, they got like full rank 9 or rank 29 or all the best top stats and so whatever. I'm like, what the hell? That's kind of unfair. Compared to
Yeah.
someone who was like grinding for hours and hours, like years and like just like months and months, and they still don't get the best of stuff.
Yeah, man, I to this day, I don't know, I don't understand how they were able to do heroic. Because imagine if you got like a really decent piece and you decked it out to +11, and then you got a better piece like in
Yeah.
5 months. Like, what the heck do you actually do?
Like legit,
you just hate
that's
yourself?
literally the same. That's literally the same as artifact system in Genshin Impact heroic. Now that I think about it, heroic gear.
Well, at least with Genshin, leveling up those is a lot less like
Yeah.
effort than getting +10 or +11 on
True.
RPGs. But yeah, I think that's also played a part into why I got strong with Rigamore, because I think Rigamore is the best of the, I guess you call modern sets.
Yeah.
Because I mean, maybe this is another different, like maybe this is a little different topic we can talk about. But whenever people talk about SDs, maybe you guys have seen it before, but it's always these nostalgia baiters, always talking about I miss SD because they were so varied and unique. Listen, there wasn't much difference between them because PvE content was nothing. Like, okay, PvP, fine. But if you're talking about PvE, the different SD sets did little to nothing because you yourself did little to nothing in PvE content. And I think it's literally just nostalgia baiting because it's just like, I don't, have you guys ever heard that of just like, I wish these modern sets were like SD where you had variety and you can choose?
Yes, I've heard that a
Like
couple.
one time.
Okay.
Like one.
Yeah, I hear that a lot because I always make these videos about like current gear and things like that. So I always hear that, and it's just like, all right, no, because the problem is just like, okay, I look at Dragonic set, right? Dragonic set had the thing when you awaken and you did more damage, but that didn't do anything because you didn't do any more damage anyway. Like PvE back in the day was literally so slow that the little damage boost you got from Dragonic was nothing at the end of the day. And then Altera was probably the best thing because it gave more mana because we were strapped for mana. And then like Velder was like you proc stuff and you fired grenades kind of thing with different buffs, which were just a little bit of a boost. And then Sander was just like you created a sealing device on people, which lets you do more damage, which again in PvE didn't matter. PvP, again, different. But yeah, like whenever I hear people talking about like, oh, I wish these things were like SD because they were so variety, it's just like, all right, this definitely feels like nostalgia baiting, and you don't remember how it actually was.
So at the same time, like with Rigamore gear, there is variety though.
Oh yeah, and then that's my second counterpoint is that Rigamore it does have variety, but those
Yeah.
people's counter to me is just like, oh, but it's all just damage things. Like it's all just damage.
Or they say stuff like, "Oh, but everyone's gonna pick the meta anyway, so there's technically no variety."
I mean, it's just like,
I'm like, no.
Well, that's exactly what happened with SD gear anyway. Like
yeah, people just
really
pick Altera because
Yeah,
Altera's the best.
Yeah. And also, I feel like Rigamore gear does that better because I feel like people are actually picking Sage Cerulean, not just Crimson and stuff. And Violet gear exists for PvP.
Yeah,
Like,
or tanking.
if anything, yeah, like if anything, the only two the gear sets that don't get chosen in Rigamore gear is like
The bad,
Cobalt
the
and
poorly made
maybe
sets.
Vanilla.
But I think
Yeah,
for
totally.
those, like it makes sense that no one picks them because you can do the math, and you can come to a conclusion that no, Crimson is superior.
Bro,
Well, at
that
least for now.
reminds me.
Yeah. Even
Oh,
recently,
manga.
like, real quick. Even recently, people are considering Vermilion because Wandermarken.
Yeah.
Oh,
and-
true.
Yeah. I think they were considering Vermilion when Birth came out as well.
Yeah.
Back when Birth came out. Yeah, just like from there, it's just people were like, should we do Vermilion?
I think yeah, people definitely did consider it, but I think from a meta standpoint, it's still better to go Crimson and then build around
Your ERP.
Wandermarken.
Yeah, Wonder
you
Mark
build
and an
around with
ERP.
either build either around your ERP or your current setup. That's unless you have like plus 12 VOS because that gets polarized. But then
Oh
that's
yeah,
like
it does, doesn't
you
it?
can probably count the amount of people who get plus 12 VOS on like two hands.
Yeah.
I still find it really strange whenever people bring up these kind of topics like, okay, so blah blah blah, unless you are like the 0.000.
Oh yeah,
1%.
I never consider plus 12. I'm just like,
Yeah,
you're funny.
yeah, and then but what feels really strange to me sometimes, like because like I'm kind of part of that, so I kind of sit there and think, oh, I have to consider this.
That's funny.
I
Which I think is really funny.
I had someone in the Aussie guild. Like I was just doing birth rate the other night with them, and they were like, I feel like there's more plus 12s and plus 12 VOS and plus 11 VOS out there right now.
No,
Oh
definitely,
yeah,
definitely
yeah,
does.
definitely early on
think-
as the super whales get them first. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's
That
because a
makes
lot of people. Yeah, because I think it's because a lot of people who had VOS in the first place were very dedicated players who already had their plus 12 amulets prepped. So then, as soon as they dropped it, they could just instantly plus 12. But I think as more people get VOS, naturally like the amount of people who get a VOS drop will, or like the population of people who have VOS but don't have the funds to get a plus 12 will increase, and then naturally the amount of people with plus 11 versus plus 12 will increase.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like more people in the community are getting plus 12 more and more, because I know when I got my plus 12, which was like 3 years ago now, it was a very like if you had a plus 12, you were already in like very very top of the server. The amount of people who had a plus 12 were probably like less than 20. But nowadays at least I'm seeing that plus 12 is getting a lot more popular than it was before.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's because of what you just said is plus 12 on what is it? Plus 12 on where is it?
Flames of Judgment?
Yeah, well, before that, plus 12 on Void gave you nothing, gives you critical damage 10%, which is like okay, that's cool, but whatever. Plus 12 on FOJ gives you, where is it?
Fizz Magic,
which is better than crit damage, but it's just like, okay, you know, it's better. But then VOS comes out of here with 7% polarized, and it's just like, well, hold on. Now hold on. This is actually a rare stat. This isn't crit damage, which people have mostly capped out anyway. This isn't Fizz Mag, or you get Fizz Mag everywhere. This is polarized. This is hold on.
Yeah, and there's also that like it's such a significant number that you literally change your entire setup if you got a plus 12 VOS. Like your setup just looks different if you had plus 12 versus if you had plus 11 or lower. Because I think when you get plus 12 VOS, like it's actually like so much better for you. Well, not so much better, but it's better for you not to get Wonder Mark and go for another IB set. Because then you just overcap and polarize and you just wasted it.
Yeah.
Or you get it and then you just change your gear to like Vermilion or something.
Which, you know, I think, you know, if KOG wants to play 4D chess, I think that because they've hinted ideas of a change to enhancement system. So if that is true and they do make changes to the level of plus 12 is as obtainable as plus 11 is now, where it's obtainable, it just takes a lot of effort. You know, I think that'd be some 4D chess, and I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Because we haven't had that in a while. Like the level that we are now, where like plus 11 is common, I forget when this happened, but before it was definitely like plus 9 was like the plus 11.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, so I don't know when that transition happened, but that transition did happen. So if history repeats itself and that transition happens again, and like plus 12 is kind of the new plus 11, I mean, I think it'd be interesting. I'd be down for it. I think it'd be a cool.
And then when that happens, we're gonna have plus 14 enhancement.
Plus 14.
Oh,
that'd be something. I mean, I kind of wouldn't mind it. I mean, it'd be interesting if like 14 was a new 13. They just pushed it down a little bit, and we'll push it up.
How big would the numbers be? Like, how hard would content have to be in order for a plus 14 to have a user to have a challenge? Actually, I feel a plus 14 number of content would be a challenge.
Well, I mean, that's what plus 13 is, kind of.
Yeah.
I've played with a plus 13 character, as in Melody was in my party, and I was just like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, holy crap! There's something like at those moments where as well, it's like I think I'm strong, and I go run with someone, and then they're like, run with someone who's like who literally run burst rate, and I'm like, holy crap! So that's where there's a huge difference, huh? You realize the power difference, yeah, and it's like, okay, wow,
Yeah.
it's a bit mind-boggling.
Oh, so I think just out of curiosity, I went and did the math regarding polarize. If you have VOS, if you have postal VOS, you can already overcap polarize without one marking at all.
Yeah.
So then it's like, but I guess this is including black and white.
Yeah, it would include black and white. Like, yeah, max polarize is very plausible to get. You had to wear weird things for it though, because I think it doesn't require brilliant night stuff at the moment. Without wonder.
Without wonder. Let's see. So, so this is also not counting postal VOS, right?
Yeah, not counting VOS.
Okay, so Constance 20. ERP gives you another 7.5.
Mm-hmm.
MR 3 out of 3 gives you 3.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, this is not including Wonder Marken.
Yeah.
Also, this is like not including like the actual like really top end game stuff.
Yeah, I mean, no, I was just saying, like, is it possible now without VOS? Pretty much.
It should be. So do we include black and white or no? Because you can obtain that. It will take forever, but you can.
Yeah. Nah. Just for the thought.
Okay, so those three alone will give you 30.5.
Mm-hmm.
7 words weapon. Will give
That's
you another
5%. Yeah.
Dark gaze give you another 5.
Yeah.
But
oh, yeah, that too. You had to run
not...
dark gaze. Yeah, without black and white.
Yeah. Soul Crown doesn't give it, right?
Soul Crown, no, it's adaptation.
Okay, so if you somehow can cap adaptation without sacrificing raid 3 out of 3, then you can use raid 3 out of 3 for another 5%. So I think that's 45. Wait, let me just check. Yeah, it's 45.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's possible, but you had to do weird things like dark gaze.
Yeah, and you also have to like cap out, and you also have to cap out you also have to have enough things to cap out adaptation to the point where you have enough room to run raid 3 out of 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you want to get to that point, you'd have to get things like Soul Crown.
Yeah.
Well, I was told apparently if you do the min-max, Dark Age is apparently better than Survival of the Cold because of the polarize.
It is in higher adaptation dungeons.
Yep.
If you're comparing those two,
because
it's better in high adaptation.
Yeah, not necessarily not in Rosso, but yes, in both.
Yeah.
I think.
It's a Dark Age versus Survival of the Cold is a weird thing. They're really close though.
Yeah, I think especially in Rosso they're quite close.
Because the thing with Survival of the Cold, or just ignore defense stat in general, is that ignore defense stat highly scales if you have a ignore defense skill. If you have one, it gives you a lot more benefit than if you don't have any. It's a weird. Ignore defense is a weird number.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Okay.
Like, if for example, if you were like a rage hearts, I think survival will be better because you already have an ignore defense skill, and then you get more ignore defense. Yeah. I don't know. Ignore defense is weird.
Yes.
What else did I want? Yeah, I feel like. Sorry, I zoned out a little bit halfway through that.
That's okay. I was gonna say we probably have time for maybe like one more short thing.
Sure.
Okay. Short. Okay. Alright, let's go through all the L we could get for energy. Okay. Random question. Random cute question. I think Meteor. I thought Meteor slowly answered this question already.
Okay.
Which supernatural slash superpower would you like to harness? Why? What weakness would you give yourself when you, based on this superpower?
Hmm.
So, oh wait, this guy needs time to think.
Yes.
Okay, Needy, do you want to say your answer first? I'll go think about it.
I mean, if we just want to talk about like what I just kind of want, just because I think it's cool versus like practical, I think what I want just because it's cool would be just lightning powers, and then downside just be things that happen with that, so like short circuiting and things like that. If I actually want to be practical, it would just be healing, being able to heal people. That's just I would just be the most important doctor in the world, and they're like it's just good. Like that's just good. Like
I guess.
yeah, like you literally change humanity so much with that.
Well, I was gonna say, oh yeah. I mean, fair enough, but having electric power is pretty cool. Like, you
Oh
power
yeah,
yourself
yeah.
up.
It is pretty cool, but being able to heal people with just powers, that's life changing.
Okay, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna screw up the balance of the population. No, okay.
That'd be fast to say, yeah. Most medical professions will be irrelevant, but well, I think it would make the most impact out of like almost anything else.
Okay. For me, I chose like flight. This is pretty much just something. If you could get a My Hero Academia quick, what would you pick? I think I want the ability to fly. Flying seems so cool. You know?
Yeah, flying and invisibility and teleporting, I think are top 3 superpowers people want.
Yeah. I think it's just cool if you could fly. It's fun.
But remember, you know, with flying, that is like it doesn't just happen. It's like muscles. Like you gotta do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so fun. It's cool.
Yeah. It'd be like running in the sky, I guess. Like, no, I'm just saying. Like, I'm sure you've thought of that, but I'm sure a lot of people haven't. We're just like, you don't just fly automatically. You gotta like do it. Like, there's air resistance. Yeah, you gotta control and stuff.
Wait, Mia, what would be the weakness of your ability of being able to heal everyone?
I don't know. You could do like the My Hero thing, where it's like an extension of your body, so it takes like effort for me to do it. Like I can't just do it all the time. Like I physically get tired, and like maybe it takes like stamina. Maybe it takes like I don't know, like with that one girl. Like maybe it takes like it takes her lipids, so like calories and things like that. Maybe it'd be something like that.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that'd be the most logical. That's why I like My Hero, is that like they make these superpowers logical-ish kind of thing. Like they make they give them superpowers, but there's like a logic to everybody's superpowers and how they work.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be just the basic thing. It's just like at the end of the day, I'm still a human, so I can't just spam it infinitely.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry. It's watching something. Alright, Sky, do you have an answer for the question?
I'd say time travel, but in the sense that, say if I travel back in time, my mind gets ported back into the body of that time, if that makes any sense.
No.
Oh.
Because I was just about to say, don't go backwards. Go forwards, never go backwards.
There's an anime based on this as well, I swear.
Oh, there's probably.
I think mostly I'd be wanting to go backwards, because like the amount of regrets I have in my life is actually absolutely insane.
Fair,
like
fair.
if I had the power to time travel and fix things, and that would mean a lot to me.
Fair.
As for the weakness,
I mean, you gotta worry about like messing things up.
That's true, yeah.
That's a pretty big weakness.
You don't want to mess with the timelines, you know.
True. Does that count as a weakness?
I would say it counted as a weakness. That's a lot to consider.
Alright. Okay.
Yeah. I feel like that's time travel alone is a benefit and a weakness on its own. I feel like.
Or I mean, you can also do the My Hero thing, where it's just like physically time traveling is a physical component of your body, and how you do that takes physical effort.
Mhm.
Like, imagine if time traveling was just like lifting a giant weight. Like how much you could lift it would be how much you can time travel backwards, essentially.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh,
That
yeah.
would be the
That makes sense.
correlation I would make.
Actually, speaking of time travel, okay, I have a question written here. Would you rather time travel into the past or into the future?
I say
For
future.
me, past.
Yeah.
110%
Past.
past.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like
Mm.
I've considered past, like, okay, fixing all these mistakes and things like that, but at the same time, you may fix one mistake, but then 10 other bad things happen. But so
Mhm.
it's just like that's one thing, but compared to future where it's just like, okay, no matter what with the future, I'm gonna experience new technologies, and like I'm gonna experience new media and things like that like I would have waited years for to come out, but I can just like enjoy them and binge them. Like, it's such a superficial answer, but yeah.
What if in the future it's all bleak and it's not as cool as the present?
I mean,
It's just a risk.
I mean, if you're worried about that, you go like 5 years into the future. I don't think things could get that crazy in 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fair.
yeah,
Okay. Understandable.
yeah.
Um,
Like, yeah, if you go 100 years, like, who knows? But
okay. Okay. Um.
wait, did you say no? Wait, where would you go forward or backwards, Crow?
Oh. If the past worked in the sense that if you went backwards, you had to live out the past like until the present. You can't just jump back to the present, obviously, right?
Yeah, could that be
Then I think I'd go
that'd
back.
be going into the future then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I'd go to the past as well, actually.
Okay.
But eh, just fun. Okay. Wait, you know how during the podcast with Ryder Media you asked the question, some of the cast picked four who would protect you and the rest would try to take you down? This is that one, but for Skyrus, because Big Skyrus didn't get to answer that.
That's true. Okay, Skyrus. So out of all the characters that are all at base, did I say 4? You would pick?
Yeah.
Okay, so 4 would protect you, and the rest would try to take you down or kill you. Which 4 would you pick to protect you? They're all base.
Okay. I'm just trying to think through which ones would be canonically the most powerful.
This will be interesting because Skyrus actually doesn't have any biases. Like last time, like I guess when I was listening to Ryder and Media say this first, and then I had like pretty much his biases with my answer.
Mhm.
So like, now that Sky has no bias.
I'd want Aisha.
Okay.
Okay.
Ad.
Okay.
Yes.
Ein.
Okay.
And okay, so one more.
One more, yeah.
One side of me is telling me to pick Raven for husbando value, but the other side is saying that he might not.
I'd say do it for the Raven. I mean, Raven does have good, like, he's a good tactician, right? He's like a commander.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
So thinking maybe I
the
could have.
captain of, yeah.
Yeah, maybe I could have Raven there just for the tactical insight.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
he's
okay,
the
yeah,
captain
Raven
of
it is.
Korea.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's go. Convince her to bring Raven. Yeah, I said Raven just out of personal bias as well, honestly. Well, I think Sky makes solid choices though. I think they're all really good choices. I don't know, and like, I feel like, yeah, if I had to change my answer, I would not bring Rose actually. Because I just think the other characters have such better utility when it comes to like their base capability.
Mhm.
Mm. Um, yeah, but I think, well, Meteor and I, so I said I'd bring Raven, Rose, Aisha, and I forgot who I said was, but I think I said Reno or something. But I would definitely change my answer. Like, just add, like, and what Sky said as well. So I think they're good choices.
Mhm.
Yeah, what did Media say? Media said he'd bring Raven.
I said Raven, Lucille, Rose, and it might have. I don't know if it was. I forget the last one was. It might have been Chung.
It was Eve. Oh yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah. I
definitely
think it
not
might have
Eve.
been time.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't. Oh, I counted Lucille as two just separate people. So
No,
yeah,
they
they
count as
really
one.
more
They
skill.
count as one.
Oh, come on.
What?
Damn it.
Why would they count as two separate people? They are as one. They are one being.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that. They
Yeah.
can't separate them.
They are
Yeah,
as one.
hey, I mean, if you want to reform it,
I mean, yeah, if you wanna change it up a little bit.
Alright. I would remove Eve. I replace them. I replace them with
Yeah,
Lucille.
makes sense.
Okay, fair.
Yeah,
makes
base
sense.
Eve doesn't do much.
Yeah, like you've got to add to. I think Eve is more so like she doesn't. Yeah, she's not really a battle unit. She's kind of like summons, create an army kind of thing. She's an engineer in other games, other game equivalent.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, NEF asked does Lucio count as 2 or 1? Yeah, Lucio's 1 because they
It's
have to
one.
separate.
Yeah, they are one being.
If you can't separate them, yeah.
Yeah, they are two sides of the same coin.
And I guess they have their own strengths and weaknesses, I guess, because I guess like Lou's still a demon lord, but Lou's ultimately extremely nerfed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So-
Damn. I kind of want. I wonder how Sean loses full power. I would like to see. Imagine like a. I don't know. Lu at full power kind of ring boss. I wonder what she would be like.
That would be cool.
I think it might happen in a later story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like still someone will be like, okay, I got this power up thing where I can reach my full power, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
And then because like she's innocent in the past, she's not Ellen who can just force her original form
Yeah,
for like
yeah,
a
yeah.
limited amount of time.
Yeah. And what should we call it? Okay, actually, do you guys reckon we'll get like a raid and Hellpot raid boss or something in the future?
I mean, I definitely think Ran Raid is the next raid, and I think Hellput would play a
Uh-huh.
component like that. Because you know how, like, in Birth Raid, the first couple fights are, like, Hadrian and Havian?
Oh, yeah.
So I think... yeah, everybody's best waifu, Hadron. So I think something similar would happen with Hellput and Ran Raid, where Ran Raid is obviously the last fight, and Hellput's, like, one of the beginning dungeons.
Yeah, makes sense. I feel like it's a good idea to have this like nostalgic bosses, like the old bosses come back. Hey, this is like the one time where I'd be like, hey KJ, it's okay to reuse your old designs.
Mm-hmm.
Just reuse them. They're good characters. Let's use them.
Yeah, I mean that's been a lingering plot point forever. Is Ran because he's not dead.
Like since Hamill.
Yeah, because he didn't die. There's a cutscene where he runs away.
Yeah, like and then Chung's angry
Mm-hmm.
because Ara let him get away and stuff. Oh yeah, I was making a joke with the Aussie Guild actually during Birth Raid. Where it's like they were saying, "Oh, it's gonna be a Rand raid, and you have to bring Chung and Ara, or else you insta lose." And then at the end, it's gonna be like Chung and Ara are like this. Your team gets divided into two sides, 3-on-3, Chung's side and Ara's side, and whichever team wins, they get the drops. They get to clear the gauntlet.
You know, I've thought about that, but in a different way. Is if the boss of a dungeon just did something where it randomly copied one character, and then like you just had to fight that character. I don't know. I think that would be kind of funny, kind of cool.
And then always they copy the DPS
Yeah.
character.
Good luck.
I don't know. I just think it'd be cool if it just like randomly copied one of the characters, and then so like it's almost like the boss fight is almost different every time, but not really because you like take the same people.
Okay, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. It's like a ditto fight.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. That would be such a meme raid mechanic. Yeah, become Error Island raid.
Yeah.
Wait, speaking of Error Island, you know what? Actually, Error Island kind of fun. I just realized how fun these other also game modes can be if you're playing with friends. Dude,
Yeah.
oh my god.
Oh my goodness. I mean, yeah, but imagine if we had Air to season 2. It'd be so much more fun.
Yeah. Dude, I swear, it's just like, wow, imagine removing toxicity from your game. Imagine, the game would be so much fun.
I mean, you can't in any game.
Yeah.
If a game's competitive,
like-
there's always
yeah.
toxicity.
If you're
Yeah.
playing with friends, I feel like there's like, you kind of get rid of that toxicity. So I feel
Yeah, it's
like that's
better.
why it
It's
makes it
better.
fun. Yeah, you're just
Yeah.
mucking around, just have fun.
Mm-hmm.
You should get the island rewards while you're at it. Yeah, I was playing Arada because I was like, I still don't have my Ring of Bravery upgraded,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, yeah, it's
Wow.
about
Okay.
time. Yeah,
It
I know.
has been a
I was like,
while.
yeah, it's about time I get on this. I upgraded my Ring of Fury, and then I got lazy and never did the other one because like I didn't
I mean,
really
to be
like
fair,
Arada
like,
Island.
I bought mine, so
Oh, okay, okay.
I really have not.
I grinded
So
mine.
I kind of cheated. But
No, it's fine. Everyone has. I could have bought mine, but it's just like at the same time I've already progressed so much on it. It's like, well, what's the point in buying it? You know, kind
Yeah.
of thing. And I guess it's like I guess at the time I stored on it because I didn't really like playing Arada, but then like recently I got back into it and I was playing with Meteor on his stream. It was like it's kind of fun. I was kind of enjoying it. You have a ring, must be nice. Yeah, but I'm not married yet. So.
Alright. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for us, I think. Yeah.
Mm.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Any last minute? Oh, real quick. I guess kind of plans for next week. One kind of plan I have tentative, so tell me what you guys think. So yesterday the art contest ended for the 10th anniversary. I was kind of thinking next podcast, since it'll be the ELS version, that we kind of look at at least for a section of it, we look at all the arts and like, give our thoughts and stuff like that.
Yes! Oh my god! I was doing that. Can we invite Kigo? Can we have Kigo come here, like art critic?
Oh yeah, we can. Yeah, I'll try to get Kigo.
Yeah, okay. Because my cousin has submitted their art, and I want to see Kigo's reaction to their art as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the plan for next week's ELS version. What were you gonna say, Crow?
I was just saying because I have a lot of ideas for our ELS, right? To play games and stuff. But I saved for ELS. So I'm just like, if you ever run out of content, if you want ideas, like I've got them as well.
Alright, cool. Yeah. Any last minute things you guys want to say?
I guess today we covered a lot of things. We might have gone a bit over time, but I guess we started a bit late, so it kind of makes up for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, did we start late? No, I think we started on time.
We started like 2
Or
minutes
maybe like a
late.
minute late.
Like 2 minutes, if
Yeah,
anything.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow, we broke a record.
That's the earliest was actually never started, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I was lying in bed, rolling around.
I guess for everyone who stuck around, thank you very much for listening all the way.
Mhm.
And thank you for supporting us as usual. Please look forward to the next episode. That's kind of it.
Yes. Wow, Sky did our outro for us today. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, that's it from all of us. Have yourselves a fantastic day, and bye.
Bye.